listening to Misery Loves Company. Company Alive at youtube.com/MLC Podcasts.
We're doing it. We're doing it. I think it's official. We're doing it. Uncle Melty, I think that's Melton. I think Melton's sniping the show. He said he was going to snipe.
He is. He's very lonely. He's very lonely.
He's sniping. I think Stuttering John's sniping. So I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen today. I'm like a child at Disney World for the first time.
I wore a tie, Kevin.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice.
You know, I want to, because, you know, this guy has a PhD. He's busted his ass. He's worked his ass off. He's sacrificed. And I see these two fucking idiots make a joke out of it. I want to take this serious. So I dressed up.
Okay. Members only first of all, members only in the chat. And I'm only going to you got to be $20 or higher for me to, I guarantee I'll read the super chat. I can't be reading every $2 super chat. No offense to the $2 people, but it's like when the doctor's here, I almost said therapist. When the sorcerer is here, sometimes we get backed up, and then I can't. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, go ahead. The floor is yours, doctor. You got any questions?
Yeah, sure. So, just wanted to address it's okay. You can call
Wait,
me.
Adam. Hold on. Who's sniping us? See if is Chad sniping us?
Yeah.
See if Melton's sniping us, and see if Stuttering John's sniping.
Yeah.
us.
I'm checking right now. I can pretty much say Melton is.
Well, I got to tell you, as an aside, 3 or 4 people in your world have reached out to me for possible kind of treatment and therapy. A lot of people watch this show,
So we're helping people too.
like actors and comedians. It's pretty incredible. I don't know how they found me, but a lot of people watch this show.
Does KB get a referral?
So they're reaching out for help or just a quick fix?
No, to see if I'd be their psychiatrist. Big people. I had to say, I don't have licenses in California or New York, but there's been a lot of
Brody Stevens.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah.
Does it rhyme with Schmerl Scrankle?
So,
You
Chad,
got it.
to your point about the PhD, I appreciate the dressing up and certainly other end of the spectrum from Ski Mask. But I do have my MD, so I don't have a PhD. I went to medical school for my MD.
Okay, well, either way, you're an important person, and I respect the hard work and sacrifice because we're all a bunch of fucking idiots.
Well,
So a PhD, you don't need a PhD is not to be a psychiatrist and prescribe medications. You don't need to be an MD, or they prefer you're an MD.
You need to be an MD. So you go to medical school.
PhD can't write prescriptions.
I can, yes.
No, a PhD can't.
Oh yeah, no, PhD can't. No.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, because people call them doctor, and they're just a doctor. They have a PhD, which is like nobody's looking for a PhD in a doctor emergency. You know what I mean?
Right, on an airplane, yes.
Right.
But it's 9 years of school. I mean, it's not an easy thing.
A PhD?
Yeah.
Doctor, you look like Adam's older brother.
Chad's coming in hot with the riffs.
I'm going to take it seriously.
So
Listen, nobody said he's not.
So
That's true.
The kind of setting the ground rules before we get started, and I have to ask this each time. I can't and wouldn't ever talk about your kind of history, emotions, analyze kind of our conversation without your express permission. And I'm not going to make you do anything you don't want to do, but wanted to just make sure that you're okay with us having a conversation about kind of your thoughts, your history, and talking about kind of how we can maybe become experts in you today.
I'm coming this very open-minded. I really want to help. And if you could see what direction I'm going in and what's wrong with me, by all means, let's do it. Let's figure this out. And if you could, maybe I'll hire you. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I'm all in, and I appreciate all the contributions from everybody else in the audience. Thank you. That's my opening statement.
The good news is I have a lot of ideas, and honestly, truly, the reason that I'm here is I would love it if we learned a lot more about you and became an expert in you. And maybe it can help. And if it's funny along the way, as long as it's not at too much of anyone's expense, I think it's a good thing to do. So where I'd want to start is, I watched the show and know kind of a lot of your history and I'll say off the bat, I don't really think we're not going to talk much about the legal issues exactly because I don't think it's necessarily that impactful from a psychological perspective, more of a kind of happens, chance, and symptoms. But if there is something interesting to talk about, that's a much longer conversation about kind of the criminal mind or the criminal experience. So just ahead of time, we're going to stay away from that. But I wanted to start with something that you mentioned kind of in passing recently, was that your dad was a Vietnam veteran.
My real father, yes.
Yeah. Can you tell me about, and I realized I didn't know much history about kind of your biological father, the timeline kind of, can you tell me a little bit about him and the two of you?
Yeah. Well, he left before I was born. He met my mother right
Lucky
after.
him.
Oh, come on. Let me get through this. He met my mother right after Vietnam, and my mom was young. She was 20, and it was a real like fire and gasoline relationship, and they got married like right away. And they were married for like less than a year. And I think my mom like really was into him and was pursuing him. And I think she got knocked up, but I think I don't know that I have a feeling she was trying to trap him, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, you're crazy, whatever. I don't know, whatever the situation is to this day. I don't know. And he just left, and I didn't meet him until I was 24.
Okay. And what was a couple things? Do you know what he did in Vietnam?
I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't know what it was, honestly.
If it's related to Chad, he didn't kill.
Ooh.
Get it? Because Chad doesn't kill as a stand-up.
Save it for the roast.
So when you met him when you were 24, what was your impression of him?
Well, it was back when there was phone books, and I was just curious because my middle name's Anthony, and that's his first name. He's Italian, and I found out his real last name. It's not Zumock's my mom's maiden name. So I went through the phone book looking for that last name because I heard he still lived in Ohio, and I called a number, and it turned out to be my aunt, and I told her the whole story. I go, listen, I just want to know about him. I'm not looking for anything. I don't want to hand out. I'm just curious, just want to know what your father is, what he does, what he looks like, all that stuff. And my aunt kind of said, oh, this is great. He's a great guy. He has, 2 beautiful daughters. He's remarried. And she goes, I'll tell you what, I'll tell him what you just told me. Give me your number. If he calls you, then, there's no rejection. It's not weird. I go, that sounds great. He called me the very next day. We set up a meetup. And I remember walking into this restaurant, and as soon as I saw him, I knew it was my dad. Like all the characteristics, bone structure, it was all the same. And it all made sense as soon as I saw him for the first time.
And when you were young, can you tell me when was your stepfather? Was there a stepfather? Kind of who was the male figure taking care of you when you were a kid?
Well, my mom, after I grew up with my grandparents, like my mom and my grandpa. We all lived in the house. My grandparents died right around when I was 4 and 5. My grandfather died of a heart attack right in front of my face in the kitchen. To this day, I remember you talking to Ray or somebody about having these memories. I remember it like clear as day, him falling to the ground. I was the only one there. I remember he had a can of Rolling Rock in his hand, and it just spilled everywhere. And I'm freaking out. And I'm a 4-year-old kid. And an hour later, my mom comes, and he's dead, and the ambulance came. I'm crying. The very next year, my grandma died from cancer, and we had her home. And I go see her every morning. And one morning, I went in there, and I found her dead. So I saw both my grandparents die. Well, one died and found the other one dead.
So you were sitting in the kitchen with your dead grandfather for quite some time before anyone else showed up.
Over an hour for sure. Yeah.
And did you
remember that because I remember Hogan's Heroes was on in the background. That's how that clear as day I still remember as a 4-year-old.
And what did you do during that hour?
Cried.
I hear nothing. I see nothing.
Thank you, Adam.
Levy's favorite show.
That's quite the experience. Do you ever have nightmares about that event?
It was so long ago. I mean, maybe when I was younger, but I mean, not for. But I just remember it all. I remember it was snowing out. I remember everything about it.
And you've talked about kind of losing your brother and kind of the trauma involved with that. And certainly we don't have to go through that because I already know that story to some extent. Some of the details that I don't exactly have in my head. How old were you when your brother passed?
Oh boy. in my early 20s because I was at Kent State University still, and I was working. I forgot where I was. I was working at the bookshop or something, and that's where I got the phone call from my neighbor. So like early 20s. I don't.
Wait. Early. I thought your brother died when you were young, because then your dad stopped hitting you. You said because the coffee guy.
Oh, he stopped hitting my other brother.
No, you said he stopped hitting you after his brother.
Well, he did, but I was already out the house. I hadn't.
How's he going to hit you? You're in college.
I know. I left home when I was 17 as a senior because of the abuse, and I never came back. I declared myself.
You said he was nicer after your brother got run over.
Yeah, he didn't hit my mom or my brother ever again afterwards.
But you made it seem like you were there and he was nicer to you too. He didn't hit you.
He true. Like, so I start coming back around again, and he didn't do anything. And
he's not going to hit you when you're 20 years old.
Well, you don't know.
No, you'll beat the shit out of him. A 20-year-old can beat up an older man.
He was a big dude. He was very big.
So outside of the perpetual violence in the household that you've talked about quite a bit, is there anything else particularly kind of impactful, memorable about those years, kind of middle school, the end of elementary school, that was going on in the house?
Well, I think about 1980, my mom went to Texas for 3 years. To this day, I don't know why. My aunt doesn't know, which is her sister, who I'm very close with now. And I was with my other aunt and uncle, and we lived on a farm, 27-acre farm. It was the greatest years of my life because there was I had cousins, swimming pool, dirt bikes, BB guns. It was like the best thing you could. Then she came back, and 3 years later, I didn't want to go with her, and we moved to Kent, Ohio, and it was just me and her until she met my stepfather.
Wow. And so your other brothers are it's part of a separate, a complex family. The brothers you were talking about that are living with you, they're much younger and from the second marriage.
From the second marriage, yeah. My mom met my stepfather because she was working at a bar, and he would come in there all the time, and he basically, wooed her and lied to her. He was actually still married at the time, and he was using her as his mistress, and she had no idea. And he ended up getting busted cheating on his wife, and my mom ended up marrying him and having 2 kids. So it was a good foundation.
I mean, look, it's through the stinkiest fertilizer grow the brightest flowers.
I'm gonna write that down.
You're talking about Chad now?
Well, it's just in general.
Adam, can we name this episode "Stinkiest Fertilizer"?
No.
It's a little wordy. Chad, can I have you just move your mic down just a touch? It's kind of blocking your face.
Yeah, so we can see your tie.
So when you're going through all these kind of traumatic events, if you can think about kind of your thought process when you're in the household, maybe age 13 to 15, what was your role in the house? What did you function as? Were you the guy who kept the peace? Were you a defender? Were you the guy who cleaned up? Were you the guy who avoided the one who wanted to get out and leave? What was your role in the household before you were kind of able to get out of the house?
I was a very good kid. They were very strict. So I was the one who cleaned the whole house. I cleaned everything, dusted, you name it, sweep. And I had to do it every day. If I wasn't playing sports, I was constantly not allowed to go anywhere unless I was playing sports or if it was a school function. So, and if I was at home, I just go to the basement and my whole thing was stay out of the way so I didn't have to run into them.
Gotcha. And would you say that when you were allowed to be social, did you lean heavily on friends, or were you more a guy who isolated?
No, in school, that's where I developed that's where I became the funny guys, because that was my escape. Because I was I can make people laugh. I'll just do this.
Well, then what happened?
Things changed, Kev. I joined the show, and here we are.
Okay, go ahead.
So
let me try to sneak some Deadpool. Thank you, Deadpool. Of course, thank you. Say hello to Fatty Patty, everybody. Maybe you should fucking talk to Fatty Patty.
Yeah, he needs help.
Yeah, he needs. He's drinking and smoking and
chain smoking.
We worry about him. Hi, Uncle MLC. Thank you, Deadpool. And let me give a shout out yesterday to Panhandler and Broccoli. I don't know. We gave shout outs at the end, but they came in with hundos. And Uncle Stokely, how much to just have the Gypsy Sorcerer cast a spell that makes Chad disappear? How much does that cost? Do you have different thing like a la carte? Do you have any? I mean, you don't have anyway.
Well, I have different rates for a half an hour session, an hour therapy session, I do some biofeedback training where there's some headsets and equipment. So there is some a la carte. So
No, but when you talk to a guy, do you say you got to see me for 6 months, or can you just do like 10 like a Subway card where you get 10 sandwiches and you get the 10th one free?
usually
Something
like
that.
CBT or ACT, there's like 12 to 14 sessions. Seeking Safety, which we're actually doing a couple modules of that today, is about 14 sessions.
Thank you, Stokely. What a sad day. Not that Chad is on. Well, maybe, but Clint Eastwood passed away. I don't know.
No way.
I just looked that up. I didn't see anything. I just went to his Wikipedia. I didn't see anything. But Burt Young did die. So that's terrible. He's from Rocky. All right, we're caught up in the $20 or higher. Go ahead.
Yeah, so one of the things I wanted to talk about in terms of the impact. So I'm sure, Chad, that you know.
I got confirmation. Clint Eastwood did die.
Wow.
So,
from who confirmed it?
Died at age 98 in a hospital. It's all over the news.
Wow. It's
All
not
right,
his Wikipedia.
Back to fixing me.
So I think it's pretty clear. An armchair psychologist, anyone. I'm sure, Chad, you understand that you've experienced a lot of trauma in your life.
Yeah, no, I've been, through therapy a lot, and I'm well aware of the trauma. And all of it.
So how do you believe the trauma affects you?
Well, in a lot of ways, there's definitely trust issues. Like, it's hard for me to trust people because, next thing you know, they're stabbing you in the back. They're like texting Nick Swartzen and Jim Brewer, stuff like that. And, it affects me in a lot of areas where I don't want to like play by the rules, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
make my own rules.
I do. So it's interesting that you just said that. So if I summarize, you have issues with trusting too much and being exploited, and then being
that's the same thing Stuttering John says. Why do all these clowns have the same problem? I'm too trusting. Also stupid. Also alcoholics. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. So, and the other end is I kind of make my own way, and in a way, kind of maybe I isolate or I play by my own rules.
Well, because my whole life I had to take care of myself. I left home when I was 17 because of the abuse and wouldn't stay with so I put myself through college. I declared myself independent, and I always had to support myself. I never got a handout. I never got anything from my family or anything. I did it all myself. So it's just survival.
So a very interesting thing happens to everyone who gets traumatized, and trauma, the experiences of trauma are so varied and unique in terms of the memories that you have, the rolling rock on the floor, what you were having for dinner one night that you got physically abused. These experiences are very unique, but the outcome is fairly consistent among human beings. And one of the things that happens that's very, very common is we struggle with our boundaries. So someone who experiences trauma, if you think about an event, like let's say you're in the house and you've had the experience of being hit multiple times by your stepfather. In anticipation of any kind of interaction, we are probably going to lean towards avoiding conflict, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And
can I ask something first? It seems to me that these people, they if they're traumatized, they seem like they since they know they're going to get a beating eventually, not physical, but in one way or another, they're going to get a beating anyway. So do they act out first? I think I suffer from the same thing. Like, I figure showbiz is going to fuck with me anyway, so I might as well fuck with it first. So does Chad create problems just because he knows everyone's going to turn on him anyway, or because he anticipates that?
Well, I think Chad and you have very separate things, and we haven't talked about us talking about your history, but I actually think your issue is very much this out of control id or animalistic component developed in a household with brothers. But you and Chad are very different in terms of
good. That's good news.
Yeah. So Chad, so someone who's been in a traumatic environment is going to avoid conflict ahead of time because they think they're promoting safety. And then whenever conflict happens, especially as you got older, when the conflict would occur, what would you do in response afterwards? So let's say you got hit in the house. What did you do afterwards?
Cry.
Okay.
And
what would you, and thinking back, what at the time, what do you wish would have happened right afterwards when you're crying and maybe in your room or whatever else? What do you wish would have happened in response to?
Like, I remember when I was in junior high school, I was small. I played sports, but I was real small. So I would lift weights all the time because my dream was to beat the shit out of them. I swear to God.
Right.
I just wanted to beat them up.
So in response, we hope for justice.
Yes. Justice.
So now we extrapolate that into your day-to-day interactions, and ahead of time you give people the benefit of the doubt, or you are more agreeable, more get along to avoid conflict. And whenever conflict comes, you act out in response, seeking justice, almost reenacting what we wish had happened. So we're too trusting, and then when someone crosses us, we overreact.
So every time I act out online, I'm seeking justice.
Whenever you are responding with anger and exacerbating a response.
So when I sniped Kevin for 4 months for kicking me off the show, I was seeking justice.
It's a reenactment of what we wish we had done at the time of trauma. Because I'd imagine you think about that quite a bit. Maybe at the time, I'm lifting weights. Man, I wish I could beat the hell out of this guy if he ever raised his hands to me. It would end then, or I'd be safe then.
At one point in my dorm, I thought, I'm just being honest. I never did it, obviously, but I thought about killing him. I wanted to kill him, but I don't like hurting people.
Ooh, someone in your dorm?
No, my stepfather.
And this is the interesting thing. This is very common. You on the front side, you want to hope for the best from people. You don't want to hurt other people. You want to avoid conflict. Just like in the house, before anything happened, you're doing anything. Let me clean the house. Let me be quiet. I don't want to start any trouble. Yeah, you want me to do that? Fine, I'll do it. But once conflict comes, there's this pursuit or seeking justice. And all of it is a pursuit of perceived safety.
So let me ask you this. My stepfather was a big time coffee drinker, and you couldn't talk to him until he had his coffee in the morning. And if you did, he would just hit you. He'd punch you. He didn't care because he was always grumpy until his coffee. To this day, I've never had coffee. Is that me seeking justice?
Well, it could also be a trigger that prompts you to reimagine very kind of distressing memories that you just would rather avoid. So you just said, I'm just not going to deal with coffee. And that, by the way, when it comes to healing from trauma, one of the very straightforward things is finding out all of these triggers that we have and just making objective choices to, if we can, eliminate them from our lives.
Yeah. And another thing is, this is weird. This is all true, though. I hadn't drank until I was 21, and I realized I have problems with alcohol.
Well, you're all caught up now.
Well, yeah, I know I'm in the Hall of Fame, but I would never drink. I was like a clean cut. Like, I wanted to play sports. In my mind, I seriously wanted to walk onto the basketball team. I was never going to, but in my mind, I was like, I'm going to do it. Like, I'd shoot 500 jump shots a day. So I was about health and fitness. And then, I'd start drinking and start getting the reputation in college as the party guy. And I like the attention. You start getting girls, and then it just keeps going and escalating. Next thing you know, you're in your 40s and you're trying to deal with all the problems in your life.
And this is, again, an extension. In some ways, that's just kind of the human experience. It's hard not to get pulled into kind of the attention and evaluation whenever we're being wild, especially in a context where it's normalized like college, especially at a larger college. Certainly it's easier to get lost in that. But another component to this is it then develops into issues with boundaries. So if I asked you what type of boundaries, or do you understand what boundaries are?
Well, explain it just so I know.
Sure.
I think I do.
So boundaries are kind of the limits we put on our relationships with other people. So for example, a poor boundary would be putting a sign outside your house saying anyone can come in and get free food.
That's not good.
And another poor boundary the other direction would be building 20-foot stone walls around your house.
Yeah.
So those are types of kind of imagery for boundaries. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's how Kevin books his podcast. Anyone can come in for food. Doesn't matter who you are.
Well, so it's interesting. One of the things that happens when we have poor boundaries are we aren't just someone who has very low boundaries or very high boundaries. When we have trauma, we have alternating boundaries. And the way I talk about it with patients is we have castle walls with screen doors. So on one end, we've got very low boundaries. Pay me whatever you want, or I don't care. I'll do the podcast for free, and or whatever, doing you a favor. But then we have very strong boundaries, and we push back against people in reaction to what we perceive as a slight. So poor boundaries are actually an inappropriate attempt for us to be loved. So if I put a sign in front of my house saying anyone can come in and eat dinner whenever they want, I'm going to get a lot of attention at first. People will be like, hey, this is great. You're the man. Like, I thanks so much for giving me this free food. Or if I give everyone drinks at a party, hey, this guy's the best. But if that same guy comes every day for lunch or every day for dinner, or that guy always comes to my house and drinks, eventually I'm going to be resentful of him.
Bob Levy.
and then I'm gonna isolate and I'm gonna push people away.
No, I get that. I know what you're saying. I was joking around, but I understand what you're saying.
I don't really understand. So you're saying Chad is too lenient, is too giving of himself, and then he overreacts when he feels like he's being taken advantage of?
What I'm saying is that, and interestingly, Chad, and this is less as psychiatric kind of dogma, so to speak, but kind of my assessment of kind of humor and analysis of humor as a coping mechanism. I think when you are at your funniest, it's actually embodying kind of this character of trauma. Because there are times in this podcast when you guys are kind of clicking that the loudest that I laugh is when you engage in kind of trauma responses that are, very harmless. But yes, so people who struggle with trauma say yes very easily at first. And then once they, feel taken advantage of, they say no very strongly in response.
Yeah, but doesn't everyone do that?
Yes, but to some extent, people hold better boundaries who don't struggle with trauma. So, someone may say, I'll invite you over to have dinner with us, but I wouldn't necessarily let you eat out of my kitchen every day for free.
So, but does Chad set people up? He acts like he gives so much, but he actually is setting a trap so that he can turn on you?
Not that he can turn on you, but whenever we have too low boundaries in the beginning, we set ourselves up for a situation where we're going to feel exploited. And then when we feel exploited, we respond with anger and isolation.
And that's mostly people who have dealt with trauma as a childhood, adolescence, or something?
Yeah, so when we deal with trauma, we struggle with a feeling of self-worth. Why did this happen to me? Why, there must be something wrong with me because, this guy was beating me up for so many years, or I wasn't strong enough or I wasn't good enough. And Chad, this may even be a little bit too much to ask on a podcast with dozens of hundreds of people listening and watching. But when you were younger, were those ever thoughts that you had? Is there something wrong with me? I wish I was better. And why is this happening to me?
Yeah, I definitely. Why is this happening to me? I never. That's a given. And the other two, I'd have to really think on that. But it would always why is this happening to me? Like I used to pray after these beatings, why is this happening? God, can you make this stop? I mean, that's where I would go. It was brutal. And that any excuse I could find, when I started lying is just so I could get away from the abuse. I have to stay after school. We got this project just so I could just not go home.
Okay, let me jump in because I want to just let me read some super chats, but also I want to address the lying thing because that's incredible to me. Friend prices, hat trick Melton is the new Shuley rack me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I think Melton. I can't even figure out Melton now. It seems like he's doing a lot of work. Furious. After today's show, Dr. 6 Cents. Oh yeah, he actually looks like they say he looked like that actor.
I googled him. Yeah,
that Dr. 6 Cents.
Haley Joel Osment.
Oh yeah, this is true. After today's show, Dr. 6 Cents will be in bed tonight, clutching a blanket, whispering, "I see fucked up people."
My wife watched the first episode. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, you let her watch it?
She found it.
Oh,
because it was on my browser history, and she walked into my office. And, what is this?
You're throwing your career away.
Borgo, I'll hire him as my shrink only if he kisses me on the lips like Patty Rosbar. We still have a request out for Patty. She definitely.
Yeah, I checked with the board. You lose your license immediately for things like that.
Wow. Bentley, sit back, relax, and pour yourself a drink, Doc. I have a feeling you'll be the one on the couch after this.
Oh, geez. What's that say about me?
This is all good-natured. Today, there's no fish fillets being eaten, but maybe floor pizza.
God, they have good memories.
I appreciate you dressing up today, Chad. Certainly a very different presentation than Ski Mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ski Mask was trying to send a message that Gavin House. Question for Chad: is that the same shirt you wore for Zoom Court follow up? Own any other shirts?
I don't remember.
What do you mean?
Who knows?
I think it was. It sure looks familiar. I mean,
all
honestly.
all my ties and shirts are in Ohio still at my aunt's.
Mr. Kill Everything. Chad was rightfully beaten up by his stepdad because Chad was putting coleslaw in his morning coffee. Suey, Piggy.
Swing and a miss.
They are a handsome couple.
They're ugly. They're both ugly.
We already did this, right?
Yeah.
The Stokely. Is Chad Quadfather? Chad shouldn't even read this at $2. All right, we'll stop after this one. After this,
it's Quadfather.
Is Chad a kleptomaniac, sociopath, or a narcissist?
We should analyze this guy.
Well, I will tell you, actually, the analysis is in the two of your interaction. It's incredible. I wrote like 7 or 8 pages about it. I'm actually seriously thinking about publishing the interaction between someone who's experienced a physical trauma that they've gone through and accepted, and someone who's experienced a psychological trauma and is still processing. It's the reason the two of you work. It's incredibly complex from a psychopathological perspective.
Who, me and Quadfather?
Yeah, it's unbelievable to watch.
we have
I thought you
chemistry?
were talking about me and Chad. What a relief. Oh, Chad and the Quadfather?
Yeah, it's
Oh my God, that's interesting.
it's shocking. I rewatched that episode like 11
So wait,
times.
say it again. What is because one has physical trauma and the other one has
So Quadfather had a physical trauma, and I would argue, at least from the couple BYBs that I've watched and him on this show, he is
You
really
watched that show?
well. After I saw him on here, 'cause
For
I wanted to learn,
research.
he seems to very much accepted what has happened to him and processed it and kind of is working through it. And Chad, you and I are talking about today kind of the remnants of these traumas, and that you're still in the process of working through them to some extent. And the
So
two,
I basically, I'm the opposite. I didn't give up on walking. I'm still going to try to walk.
No. I mean, he's accepted that he can't walk and that he's figuring out other ways to get through it.
he's more better adjusted than Chad, is what you're saying, right?
Not better adjusted. He's just in a different place. But Chad's also, I think, more established professionally as a comedian, has been doing this longer and has put more effort into this kind of work. And the dichotomy there and the dialectic of the two opposing characters with the trauma component to them makes every single back and forth when Quadfather says a stupid joke that doesn't really hit, but then Chad's very frustrated that this guy's even allowed on. And I'm laughing hysterically from a kind of seeing how this is playing out psychologically. It's a very, very interesting interaction.
He gave up on walking. You said he just accepted I can't walk. If I was in his position, I would try. I'd find somebody to help me.
But I think the acceptance of trauma is what you and I are going to talk about today. And I think that when someone gets through a traumatic event and the trauma, the effects that they cause, a huge part of it is accepting that it happened and not dwelling on trying to fix it.
All right. You got the whatever.
Furious. Can the doctor hypnotize Chad into being a good boy? If that's too hard, how about if he oinks like a pig whenever a bell rings, like a Pavlovian situation?
I like how all these fat people are calling me fat. It's hilarious. It's so funny.
They called me fat too.
It's so funny.
No, I don't. I don't do Pavlovian training.
Chad Dad. Oh, it's Quadfather again. Chad Dad.
$2 Chaz. This guy's dumb.
Well, the sorcerer likes him. Chad Dad killed. Chad always bombs though. Hack.
I bomb? What was that?
To be fair, I don't like him. I don't think him by himself really works. He works with Chad specifically.
You got to partner people up. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I sensed that. I mean, I was surprised, but now that it's a psychological experiment, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm onto something. Stevie Lou, he's another guy. You said you still want to debate Stevie Lou about the effects of weed?
Well, certainly I could be very educational. There's a lot there from a research and scientific perspective. I have a fellowship in addiction psychiatry, so know quite a bit about it.
Furious. Chad, why do you think Levy was obsessed with your physical features? Yeah, is that weird, Chad? You think he's just because he's a hack, or you think he's gay for you, or you think he what is that? What was that?
No, it's always like just weird looking dudes that are like, and they're always anonymous. They're always looking like, or they have a potato filter. They're like, I'm like,
no, why did Levy? Why was obsessed with your lips and your ears? And
well, Chad, can I ask you a question? When you're someone who does a lot of crowd work, is a lot of that crowd work observational? Like they see someone in the crowd, then they pick on something that they see?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
no,
so-
Kevin. He asked the comedian. I'll tell you. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I like how when you said Chad's been doing comedy longer, but you pronounced it kind of wronger. And I was like, yeah, Chad's been doing comedy wronger for a long time. Anyway, yeah, Levy's a hack, and any hack comedian who does crowd work, they just pick out the most obvious thing. If the black guy, he's got a big dick. If he's Asian, he's got a little dick. And Levy does the whole show based on that. So yeah, Levy's a hack. And that's why I was always like, Chad was on the show and he would be like, Chad, what's with your ears? And I'm like, who gives a fuck about someone's ears? But Bob does.
And actually, I think that's a very common kind of way that humans operate. The thing we do most often is the thing we're likely to do next. So if we're always observing people's physical features to comment on professionally, we'd end up doing it in other arenas as well.
Right.
But can you just say Levy's a hack?
So my understanding, and I don't want to take too long on this, but the idea, the theory.
Oh, well, you got plenty of time.
the definition of a hack.
Hi, Bob. Hi, Bob's lawyers. Hi, Bob's surveillance team. You fucking hack.
Is a hack someone who prioritizes the laugh over anything else, kind of the outcome?
Yes, and it's complete. And the hack is always unoriginal. Always is strictly unoriginal. It's like Shuli Egger. Like he watches Carla do the thing on Stuttering John, then he's like, I'll do it. So that's why these guys deserve each other. They're just hacks. They watch other people do it, and then they're like, I'll do it too because someone else is having success with it.
So they're looking for the outcome rather than someone who's not a hack is working on the process, kind of working through a joke and trying to understand what makes something funny or not funny, and actually would rather not get the laugh so they get editing on what their material is to change it.
No, the hack is you're like born gay. You're born a hack. So it's like the hack doesn't think he's a hack, and just like I don't think I'm clever. I don't think I'm a great comic, but I know I'm not a hack because when I watch people, I don't. That's one of the reasons I don't watch comics. Because I don't want to be stealing. I don't want to be influenced by them because I don't want to be a fucking hack. But Shuli and Bob are like, we'll just do. It's just basically like if you open a restaurant. And you're like, we'll just make burgers and fries because we know people like that traditionally. So Bob does the hacky crowd work. Shuli does basically whatever works. He's like, I'll do that too. I mean, I don't know if they think like I'm a hack, but they somehow they convince themselves that they're clever because they're doing. It's basically like I said, a cover band. Like Shuli will think he's doing a better version of what Carl's doing. And then Levy will convince himself he's the best at crowd work because that's just what he does. You know, you never see like comics. There's never a comedy contest about who can do the best crowd work because nobody really cares. And it doesn't play really in show business or on TV. I mean, you're never going to watch Netflix doesn't give out crowd work specials. I mean, people do crowd work specials now just because it's easy.
Todd Barry do one, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy, and you don't have to write any material. So people are doing that more, but Netflix is not going to give someone a crowd work special because it's just not original, and it's for the most part extremely hack.
So can I ask you guys really quick? If you've got 3 comedy shows in a row, right? Would the hack prefer that they all laugh at all 3, whereas a comedian or not a hack would rather kill at the last one, learning from the first 2 which jokes worked and which ones didn't?
I know. I'll speak for all comedians now. I never. No, I'm kidding. I'm just speak for myself. I don't think comics really ever think about like this show or that. It's always this show. Whatever this show is, they're never thinking, oh, this is good. It's good that I bombed because I learned something about that joke. You don't really think of it that way. It's just you're on stage. You got to have a good show. You'll do hacky things in the course of a set or the course of a headliner set to get the laugh, to get an easy, cheap laugh. But you don't base your whole career on it like Levy does and like Shuli does. So it's like a hack is everybody knows the hacks. Like if you're a comic and you're not respected as a comic, it's probably because you're a hack. So, but for the most part, hacks don't do well. Like, Levy never worked in the clubs in New York because he's a hack. Nobody wants to see an old man do crowd work where they want to see original material because that's just the nature of show business. You got to constantly come up. I mean, Louis C.K.'s had like 10-hour specials. They're not all great, but he's not a hack. He's never going the cheap route to get a laugh. He's always challenging himself and or the audience, because that's, to answer your question, that's probably what most comics want. They want to challenge themselves and the audience, have like more jokes that are more clever. Like if you have a joke that's clever that you think is a good joke and the crowd likes it, those are the best jokes. The jokes that challenge yourself, challenge the crowd. Whereas a hack like Shuley or Bob, they don't care about that. They're always going for the cheapest, hackiest, cheap laugh.
Yeah, like my closers, like I say, drink and drive. They're not going to catch us all. Like that's like what I close on, and I'm proud of that.
That's one of my jokes, and Chad said everyone does it.
Everyone.
I've never seen anybody else do it.
Jason Lawhead. I'll start naming all the names.
All the Florida hacks that you pal around with. Furious, thank you. Lies have started already. We should have gotten an electric dog collar to zap them. Yeah, let's do to the lies thing, because Chad's kind of famously a liar, and I'm sure it's a coping mechanism, but it's still Adam has a clip of Chad saying, "I know what I said and it's not true." It's kind of a famous
Here it comes.
Hold on, I'm dealing with
Jesus Christ.
I'm dealing with something right now.
So I will say that actually I came prepared for this component of the conversation. And Chad, I hope we do get back to the
I know what I said, but it's not true.
The trauma discussion, because I really do think there's some interesting things that we just started talking about. But there's this great paper by Isaac Alschler in the early 1900s, who is a Darwinian biologist who.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah, well, it's I can send it to you. It's a wonderful paper. But he describes kind of lying in nature, and postulates kind of a psychoanalytic description of how and why things lie, and how and why people lie. And then also, I did get some training when I was kind of working for the VA and a little bit the government on kind of how psychologists and psychiatrists can identify liars kind of in interview. So certainly it's a skill set that I don't necessarily use very often, but I was thinking at the end of this or the end of whatever sessions, I could teach everyone here how to figure out if someone's lying during the conversation.
Doctor, you got to understand, it's not just me. It's Kevin, it's Melton, it's everyone.
No, I don't lie. I don't
lie.
No, that's a lie.
You.
No, that's a lie. Chad's saying Chad. He puts everyone on this umbrella of we all lie, we all make up shit. That way he's protected because everybody lies. I don't fucking lie.
You don't think Carl in Rochester lies?
What?
You don't think Carl in Rochester lies?
I think we all lie.
You're talking about isolate. Your whole coping thing is everybody lies, so it's okay if you lie constantly because everybody lies. Everybody doesn't lie constantly.
But the fact that you're pinpointing me as the liar when everyone else is lying.
You pride yourself.
Everyone. Ray DeVito lies every 5 fucking seconds.
Adam doesn't lie. Adam doesn't lie.
Okay, Adam.
I mean, little white lies here and there. You gotta.
Doctor, this is
but
trauma.
Adam's been. I've been working with Adam
for the most part. Yeah, I'm very honest.
No, you just don't lie. Nobody wants to deal with someone who's constantly lying because then after a while they have no credibility, and you get exhausted trying to figure out if they're lying or not.
Kevin, sometimes when I'm telling the truth, you won't even believe me, and I'm like, "What's the point?"
Because you're a fucking liar. Because I have to assume most of the time you're lying.
If you're not going to believe me, why tell the truth? I'm telling you the truth.
Just for the sake of it. Why tell the truth?
I know what I said.
I tell the truth. I eventually tell the truth.
So interestingly, Alsher talks about the creatures in nature that lie. So if there's a question of self-preservation or self-protection where direct force or strength or escape is not possible, a lesser creature will turn towards deception to survive. So you think about the creatures inevitably that lie in nature.
Lion. I'm a lion. I'm not.
So lions don't lie. They don't need to deceive or camouflage or hide themselves. They don't dress up like a stick or look like something else. Apex predators don't need to deceive. They're strong enough and powerful enough to make their way. Interestingly, lying is very much an activity that's engaged in when there's a power dynamic, and that one may not feel they're able to either push back or to escape, and they turn towards deception.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that whenever someone continues to lie, they reinforce a narrative that they're lesser than.
The narrative. Go ahead.
So, and I think one of the ways that you and Kevin work so well is I actually think that you do like Kevin quite a bit and look up to him, and that you don't really care about the power dynamic very often.
Dude, he
but-
struck my channel 3 times. Like, I didn't have my channel for like a week and a half. Well, you had Adam do it.
Yeah, I literally had to give you a timeout because you're a fucking losing liar. Adam, call this episode "Losing Liar."
No, don't.
But I do think that you like Kevin quite a bit, and I think Kevin likes you quite a bit.
No, Levy likes you. Got the love triangle mixed up. Levy's is in love with Chad, and I'm
He blocked
indifferent.
my number. How you block my number?
No, but he's talking about your lips constantly.
I think Levy, like the comedian who you were saying, kind of just prioritizes the outcome, may have been looking for thinking that this would make more money or be more popular when Chad's there, because the outcome being more positive if Chad's involved. But I don't know if I would exactly say that Chad and Levy, at least from my observation, have the same kind of back and forth relationship the two of you do.
No.
Nat Cram, Canada, 139.99. I hope you're out of the hospital, Nat Cram. Oh my God, this is breaking my heart. Can't even try good nature ribbing. First of all, nothing's even happened yet. Chad's not even crying yet, Nat Cram. So wait till Chad starts crying, and then that'll be really amazing. But thank you.
Hey, we also have a $50 one from Chris Mack that apparently was before we started, so it didn't come up. So I just put it on this thing right here. This is from Chris Mack.
How'd you find it
$50.
then?
He was messaging me. He said it didn't.
Yeah, I know
he was
in the.
He got charged for it, but it didn't for some reason.
I know he was in the chat before the show because I checked the show. before the thing.
But
so
I think since we logged on, it like somehow got lost. I don't know. But
So-
this was his message.
So, Chris Beck, has Chad dressed up as a woman, perhaps in Key West, for pleasure, profit, or otherwise? The scope of this includes shoes, clothing, accessories, and makeup, specifically eyeliner.
Yeah. All of that's true. All
So,
of it.
so I do have a question about this.
You do? Jesus.
So it's been my kind of impression that that you have fairly kind of strong relationships with, and I don't mean this in any kind of way other than what I'm saying it. You seem to have very strong relationships with men that you respect. So whether it's kind of when you're in Cleveland or when it's what's his name, Jim Florentine, or the guy you went down to Key West with, you have Swartzen. You have very strong relationships that you preserve. You put effort into. Can you tell me about that?
No, if there's people that are like, I'm a big loyal guy. If you're loyal, I'm loyal back. I'll like, you got my back, I got your back, and that's how I always been. And so the people I keep close in my unit, my circle, they're like people like I'll share everything with, and if they need something, I'll be there in 5 seconds. Because obviously, growing up with trust issues and no loyalty, like I value that more than anything.
Yeah, but Doctor, those are the people that Chad has good relationships with. He's not in business with them, like the people that he does business with, he has fallouts with, whether it's the guy from Alan Cox Radio or me, or
there's more than that with Alan though.
No, but I'm saying like he never went into business with Florentine. He never went into business with Earl Skakel. He never went into business. He's not in business with these guys. So it's some about Chad with money, and I think it's what you said lying, because it's not an equal relationship. There's a power struggle. If I'm paying Chad or whatever, or if Alex Cox was his boss, he has a problem with those.
He was never my boss, by the way. That guy.
Okay, he was his fucking show. It wasn't a Chad Zumock show.
No, but I was employed by iHeartRadio.
You and Florentine have never been in business together.
We work together a lot.
Yeah, but he's never been your boss. Chad has trouble with anybody who's Chad has problems with authority. I know that's common. But Chad has problems with authority, especially when they're his boss.
I have trouble.
So, Chad, if you could enlighten me a little bit, can you describe, kind of thinking about the people that are in your circle? Are there any commonalities that they share? Any traits that are kind of that repeat in terms of people that you end up putting effort and loyalty into?
They're just solid people. They're solid and dependable. Like I got friends, a friend from college, my friend from high school. They're all just solid. And I respect that. I want to be a solid guy. I want to be like that. So I look up to people like that.
The friends from college and high school, just generally, you don't need to dox them or anything. What type of work do they do? Are they successful?
Yeah, one's an electrician, one's a teacher, and my other friend was a professional pro basketball player in Europe.
Okay. And then in terms of the comedian friends that you're closer to, would you say in general they're pretty successful and stable?
Yeah, for the most. Yeah, I would say so.
Earl Skakel has 18 people in his Patreon.
But he's solid. He's solid.
It's a consistent 18.
He's a good guy.
So would you say that they're in general, are they further along in terms of your life goals than you are? Have they been places you want to go in terms of whether it's stability or success or anything like that?
I mean, yeah, to the most part. I mean, my friend who's the electrician is just like a whole hardcore blue collar guy, and he has a great family. He's a good dad, and it's like, he's just and whenever I'm in town, he's like, dude, come on over, and he's just open door. He's just one of those guys.
So would it be a reasonable hypothesis that you pursue relationships that recreate a power dynamic similar to a father and son, but where you are not in danger and you are not being abused and your value?
Exactly.
The cat's in the cradle in the silver
Just
spoon.
answer the question. That's exactly what happens. He wants to create this thing, but there's nothing at stake. There's nothing at stake between him and Florentine. There's not a power struggle.
But I think but Chad, I wanted to get back. Do you see, would that be a reasonable assessment that all these gentlemen could be fatherly?
Possibly. I'd have to dwell on that some more, but it makes sense for what you're saying.
I heard about the story when Florentine was going through the divorce or the death of his, I forget what it was, but
divorce.
You were on the phone with him like every day.
Yeah, because Chad has massive availability. He has nothing going on.
No, because when I got fired from my radio job back home, he was on the phone with me, helping me, and I'll never forget that. Like, he says, don't worry, I'll take you on the road. You're fine. Don't worry about it. Get through this. So when he was going through his problem, I was like, I got to pay it forward, man, because he's struggling and it's like a big brother, little brother relationship, if anything.
Yeah. I think maybe even more so, having absent kind of this role, this figure in your life, someone caring about me just because of who I am, not because of what I have or what I can do for them. That's really what we usually get from a parent.
Yeah.
It was just something kind of interesting to observe that a lot of these men in your life that are valuable to you and that you care very much about all have commonalities of being stable, having kind of fatherly or big brother relationships, and that you don't put things at stake like work or money, maybe because that would jeopardize any of this.
And they also don't want anything from you. Like when Florentine was helping me through that job loss, like I had nothing to offer him. I saw people just walk away. Like I had all these people like on my ass wanting to hang with me, and they just disappear. Same with Kevin's show. The first time around, all the people wanted to hang. My Patreon was blowing up. As soon as he fires me, they all cancel. So I'm like, okay, shed away these flim-flam people.
And by the way, that's another reason why
you're talking about Borgo. I mean, you're talking about everybody.
Yeah, Borgo.
Well, I think that's by the way, another reason why you work well in the dynamic with Kevin, because and Kevin, I don't want to presume, because we didn't talk about me analyzing kind of or having conversation about you specifically, but Chad, you may be looking for someone who's more established, more kind of consistent, stable. Certainly, Kevin, at least relatively speaking, fits that space. But Kevin's not looking to be to have those relationships because he kind of jettisoned from this family.
He doesn't want any relationship.
Well,
at all.
Different relationships, and it's fun to see that conflict between the two of you. Subconscious drives between the two of you in terms of what you want from each other. I think again, it plays well when it's healthy, when it's good natured ribbing on here.
Yeah, but everything plays well when it's healthy, right?
Yeah, true. Until people get scornful and vindictive,
right? And just like a marriage plays well when it's healthy. When it's going bad, that's when you need some skills. Talboy, only a Piazza can't beat up his dad at 20. That's wasn't me. Wasn't me. Since Chad has trouble with the truth at times, how do we know what's true and what's BS? But Chad, you're doing good so far. Thumbs up. Hashtag conflicted. Wasn't me saying that.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks. Wasn't me.
So it wasn't me. I hopefully, or maybe it's today, maybe it's another time, I can teach everyone exactly how to figure out if someone's lying or not while you're talking to them. They've done the research. It's a wonderfully straightforward kind of thing to learn.
Okay, let me read some super chats, but I want to hear the
why are you reading these like $5 ones?
I don't know, because Adam's jumping ahead anyway. If somebody comes in big,
yeah, we got a big one from Broccoli coming up.
All right. Quadfather, why does Chad search for
Hack!
why does Chad search for black piazza dong in saunas? Is it because you got turned out by Godfrey, Chad?
So hack.
That's mean.
Get off your ass and do something.
Oh, he cut ahead. I was like, I just clicked on Johnny Carson. Broccoli, want to formally send an invite to the doc. Oh yeah, you're definitely invited. Broccoli wanted to formally send an invite to the doctor to the MLC Super Bowl party. Can't wait. Thank you, Broccoli. It's happening. We're doing it.
Yeah, doctor, you want to go hang out in the lobby?
I don't know if I can do that. That's I'm not sure. Broccoli is certainly enticing, but I'm not sure. I don't think
we got that stripper from yesterday. We're getting everybody from the show. Did you watch her yesterday? Yeah, she's got issues, right?
Who knows?
Could you help her? Like,
what, a girl in porn has
in
issues?
one session.
We're working on Chad today.
All right, yeah. No, but just a quick answer. Like, it would take a long time with somebody like that, right?
Well, you can do anything with enough time and energy, sure.
Okay. Johnny Carson, an evil step parent and stuck Johnny Carson, an evil step parent and stuck cleaning all day. Doctor, is there something called Cinderella syndrome? Fuck you to the two sniping hacks, Smelly John and Blow Me C, and also Melton.
So actually, it's so interesting that you say that. A lot of these stories, because the reason we find them so gripping and they stand the test of time, they're talking about these very specific human experiences. Cinderella is a traumatized woman who finds a proxy parent.
Doctor, let me ask you this, because it always comes up a lot. Did you watch this TV show Breaking Bad?
No, I actually haven't, and I'm saving it in case I get like a terminal illness or break my leg.
Okay, like Quadfather. You should watch it, because a lot of people say Kevin and I are like Jesse Pinkman and Walter White are dynamic.
You never figured out how to think, did you, Pinkman?
Who's so yeah, Walter White's the responsible, intelligent guy, and what's
right? That'd be me.
What's Pinkman what's his character?
Pinkman's a loser drug addict.
Yeah, well, Walter White's like a cancer victim.
Pinkman introduces him to the world of drug dealing, and then Walter White makes this incredible meth because he's a chemistry teacher, and he needs money because he's got cancer, and he don't have any money, so he's got to provide for his family. So it all makes sense. It gets kind of
Kevin looks like he has cancer.
It's a mess at the end, but the beginning of the show is incredible. The first season and a half, 2 seasons, or Tuco. I mean, it's the best first 2 seasons of a show of all time.
Spoiler alert: Jesse Pinkman survives. Everyone else dies. Go ahead.
By then, nobody even.
What the hell is wrong with you? I'm really asking.
Furious. Chad, if the doctor prescribes a whooping with KB's belt, would you take your medicine?
I think that's a HIPAA law.
Chad doesn't go into Starbucks because he's scared. This is coffee.
Too soon.
This is coffee. Yes, Chad. What if you're with Florentine or Earl and they want to go to do you even go?
Oh yeah.
Do you walk into Starbucks or you do wait outside?
No, when we're on the road, Florentine always goes get coffee. He goes, "You want one?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I'm good."
Does he know your history?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Draper, $2. I want justice for the great credit card thief of Florida.
Who's that?
Agent Zumock, you will let me know when those lambs stop screaming, won't you?
Is that from Platoon?
He's getting 2 movies. He's from Platoon, but he's talking about Signs of the Lambs.
Oh, geez.
All right. Yeah, give us some tells, because I give us the tells on when people are lying.
Kevin, it's 5:00. Just letting you know.
All right.
So actually, before we go into the tells, I wanted to talk a little about the lying, and they mentioned the Kumia country reference.
Yeah.
So interesting in this paper, Alshler observes that small birds that evade capture by larger birds or animals seem to celebrate after the deception is successful. And he postulates that human beings derive pleasure from escape or kind of pulling off the deception. And the way that our nucleus accumbens, our pleasure centers work, things that are pleasurable, we repeat. And usually that's things like consuming calories or reproducing. But if the deception becomes pleasurable, we repeat it because we search for that same dopamine signaling, that pleasure response. And we go back into this idea of the thing we do most often is the thing we're likely to do next. And that deception may even become part of our identity, to where someone starts to lie almost impulsively because they do it so often, and that it usually feels good, and they don't know why exactly they did. But they just tell a story for the sake of deception, because
why does it feel good?
We don't know. It's usually colorful or stimulating. There's a performance component to it. There's some imagination that has to be created through the observer. It's almost like performing on stage, and people love performing on stage.
Not Kevin.
That was good.
So you think that so if you met somebody who was lying all the time, you'd be like, they're not a bad person. They're just they're theatrical.
Well, no,
it's performance art for a liar.
No, what I think probably happened is
so I'm a performance artist.
The misdirection started through survival. And Chad, you had mentioned, hey, I got to stay late for school, or I got to go to a sports practice, and it was functional. But then it was, hey, I actually got out of this thing. This worked. And then it starts to repeat, and from function turns into habit. And then it becomes somewhat more impulsive.
And next, it's Kumia's country.
And truly, I think that's the reason that the story was, that may have been the reason that the story was created. There was no secondary gain or anything else. It was just, it's more pleasurable to kind of perform.
How do you know when someone's lying as a professional, as a psychiatrist, or as a like a cop or whatever? What are some obvious things when people are lying?
Sure. So the first thing that you should know is fidgeting does not mean lying. Fidgeting means that it showed kind of in these observational studies, and this is all coming from studies that forensic psychiatrists, profilers, people that work in the FBI and the CIA, this is a huge part of their department, kind of the work that they do, understanding lying. So they did all these prospective studies and found that fidgeting really means nervous, whether or not you're telling the truth. You could be nervous and honest, or nervous and deceitful. There's a correlation between touching your face and lying. Not necessarily causative, but a correlation. So seeing someone touching their face can be an indication, meaning that you should be starting to observe that. There's a very specific gesture called the hand shrug. It's an inward and upward movement of the hands, palm up, while shoulders are moving in. So inward,
like this, like I'm not lying, like I'm trying to convince that you should trust me, like
yeah. It's kind of this move. So actually,
like, am I lying? Like yeah, of course I'm telling the truth. That's what I do.
That's what steel toe does.
So palms go inward and upward, and there's a shrug.
Wow.
So it's an
chat. Stop. Chat.
I've never done that my entire life,
but you've probably done everything else.
So what's interesting
is that female? Is that a female gesture, or just they're both?
In general, it's an observed specific kind of and again, this is cultural, so it's for the United States. From once you switch cultures, this kind of dissipates the specific kind of physical movements. But here's where
specific Florida people who lie, because that's like its own country. I mean, everyone's a fucking liar in Florida.
No, they didn't break it down by state. I'm sure somewhere they have that. So, but here's where we're getting into the real stuff. So the cues of untruth, the first ones are called emotional leakage. So lies have strong emotional components to them, and they may flash what we call micro emotions that flash across a person's face for a fraction of a second. So one of the things that we do when we're analyzing somebody while they're talking to us is we're looking for very quick shifts in their emotional expression on their face that then resolve pretty quickly. So it's an interesting thing to see. It's one of the reasons I love watching this show, because it happens constantly with everyone.
Everyone's a liar. I told you.
Well, guess everyone. It's an interesting thing to see. There was that conflict between that gentleman who was in the kind of New York scene that had met John and hadn't met John, and it was saying things, and kind of watching him squirming in kind of the cross-examination when you brought on John. It was just watching him having these micro expressions over and over again. It was very interesting.
Wait, which guy was that?
Are you talking about DG?
No, the gentleman who said that John had smelled.
Oh, Dave Juskow.
Dave Juskow.
Yeah. So when John had come back on, his initial kind of like cross-examination that Juskow had denied those, that he had said those things initially, and you could watch these microaggressions flashing across his face over and over again. It was interesting.
Wow.
So there's this idea of also duping delight. The term, there's a joy.
Chad, I paid you. Calm down. Stop looking at your phone.
I'm listening. People are sending me like Venmo and shit.
Okay, well, don't look at your fucking phone, you fucking hack.
Sorry, doctor.
It's okay.
Well, you wear a tie, but like I was distracted by a $5 Venmo that
I'm listening.
That
I'm
little
listening.
Tiff sent me.
But look,
Hey, did Gina Bobina get my account?
I'm listening. I'm
he
listening.
doesn't have tartar sauce on his face, so you're doing great.
Yeah, I'm paying attention. I can repeat everything back.
So there's a joy and delight when someone who's lying feels like they've gotten away with it. So one of the things that I always do when I'm talking to someone in an interview is I never pursue that someone has lied or not, because I let them think whether or not I know that they're lying, that they've gotten away with it, always watching for delight after a statement. So if they say something that they shouldn't really be joyful about, but then they look somewhat joyful, that micro expression, it's an indication that what they just said was false. There's also signs that liars.
So wait. So if somebody lies and then they get an instantaneous like joy because they got away with it.
Yeah, so we were talking about that before with like kind of these birds that deceive and then they seem to celebrate after the predator passes them over and they survive. When people lie and they get away with it, they enjoy, they have a euphoria afterwards. So for example, I work with lots of people who struggle with substances, and unlike a lot of other physicians, I never try to call someone out. So when I ask, hey, have you been using any substances or any issues with substance use since we last spoke? And if they say no, and I said, oh, that's great, I'm so happy for you, and then I see a delight that doesn't match our conversation, in my mind, I say they're likely misrepresenting their substance use, and then we kind of explore possible reasons for that. But I don't say, oh, you definitely are, and I'm going to get a drug test and all these things. It's using this idea of the Dupers Delight to figure out when someone thinks they've gotten away with it.
Is that why Chad does the hype train?
No, because
after he tells lies on the show, people like do the hype train. You can see Chad doesn't make a lot of money on a show, so it's got to be the joy just lying, just sitting there lying to everybody, and then he's got to do the hype train to celebrate it like a bird avoiding the predator.
Dupers Delight. I said a hip hop.
Dupers Delight. Call this episode Dupers Delight. That's without a doubt. That's a winner. Gustav, KB, hate to do this, but can I get my super chat money back? Chad found out I got a hold of his credit card number and is threatening to get me in trouble if I don't pay him back. Plus 10%. He claims he knows the local prosecutors really, really well.
See, doctor, this is what happens.
Saying? What is Gustav saying?
He like, this is a super chat and he's trying to be funny, but people will take this like it's the truth and run with it in this universe. So that's the frustrating part.
So it's interesting. I actually don't think it's the super chats, whether it's this or the sauna. It's very much your response that seems interesting to me. I wonder why with the credit cards and the sauna, it engenders or promotes such a response from you.
Like the way I react?
Yeah.
Because that's frustration. When you know something's not true, you get a little upset. You're like, all right, we're obviously
no, but like the sauna, you brought us the sauna story.
Yeah, I told you the story,
and then you would get mad when people would make jokes about it.
After the 900th same joke, you get a little. It's okay, we get it.
But even Kumia Country, then you said you lied. Then you wouldn't really tell us what happened. Or with the credit cards, you won't tell us what happened. And then people make jokes, and you get all bent out of shape about it.
Because I've heard all the jokes.
It's but doctor, why does he react that way?
So it's actually very interesting. It's something that's very curious because I think it's one of the fatal kind of issues here and the reason there's conflict. Whenever I've seen you get really frustrated on this show, it's not about really kind of specific cutting comments that someone makes. It always seems to be about these 3 or 4 topics that seem fairly mundane, that like, okay, I stole credit cards or didn't steal credit cards or whatever, I don't care. Or this thing about the sauna that is very silly. And I think that I'm not trying to say at all that there's anything underneath from a subconscious perspective or that there's something that you're hiding. I actually think it's quite the opposite, that none of these have any actual meaning or substance for you, but for some reason that's even more infuriating. Am I on the right track there?
I think it's a combination of that and just hearing it nonstop every day, everywhere, at all times, the same thing, where you're just like, okay, I got it. It's hilarious. What else?
Up in his doctor, what's more broken, Chad or his fridge?
Well, you rent, so the whoever owns it has to replace the fridge, right?
I bought the fridge. I bought the new fridge.
Oh,
well, how many fridges do you have?
I have one. I'm down to one.
Furious. Who's a better doctor, Chad? The sorcerer or Florentine?
Who's the sorcerer?
The doctor, the one that's what we call him, the sorcerer, the gypsy.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I mean, who knows? We're not done with the session. You know what? My evaluation on you's still out. I'm still waiting for something.
Oh, wow. Doc, can you ask Chad why he stalked a wheelchair-bound Army veteran, assaulted him, then his credit card, and burned an American flag?
Had to happen, dude. Rolando.
You know, here's another thing Chad does, Doctor, off of this super chat is by Rolando. Thank you. Chad says stuff, or he tweets stuff out, then he blames the people. As he said, you guys, I just put it out there and you guys ran with it. So he makes up lies and then he blames the people on Twitter or in this world for running with it. So it's insane.
So what's interesting is, Chad, this one here, this is just as mundane and silly as the sauna. And you said had to happen, which is a reasonable, like, all right, I don't care. Let's move on. But if it had been about the sauna, it would be like, you guys, like, I have to.
This is where I have to stop you, Doctor, because this is the first time I ever read it.
Oh,
I heard
okay.
I heard the sauna thing 9,000 times. I heard this one thing one.
It's just
but
fatigue.
If this comes back 9,000 times, I'm gonna like, all right, dude. Like, I'm gonna react differently. That's my. How about that? I just outsmarted you.
Queef Overman, doesn't a crowd have to be present for crowd work? Yeah, that's where Levy runs into a bit of a pickle. A bit of a pickle, Queef. War Hero John McCain. What led Chad to steal from me, given everything I did for this country? P.S. Is that my tie?
Yes, John.
You don't steal clothes, do you, Chad?
No, I don't.
John McCain.
I literally don't steal anything. I don't.
Do you want to address that you stole credit card from a veteran?
Yeah, I already addressed that. It got sent to another case 6 months later.
Okay, we don't want to. Did you see any flashes across his face that he was obviously lying?
Yeah, because I moved my arm.
Nice. Doc, do you think Kevin and Chad should kiss and make up? That would be nice. Oh, nice once. Well, nice always wants things to be nice.
That's disgusting.
The next one is from thank you, Nice. Yeah, I like when nice is somebody has to be nice, and that's nice. And then now we're here at James O'Sullivan, which I can address. Did you see that a classic episode where Chad got so drunk and then again he blamed the internet? He put out a poll. Should I snipe Kevin's show today?
That's not what James Sullivan's put.
Okay, no, James Sullivan sent the final super chat on that famous episode. Anyway, Chad tweeted out, should I do snipe Kevin today, sober or drunk? And gosh, Twitter said drunk. Can you believe it? And so Chad, instead of taking responsibility, he blamed Twitter because he did a poll, so he had to go with the results like it's a fucking presidential election. Chad can't take any fucking responsibility when he fucks up. And James O'Sullivan sent the last super chat that Chad could barely read. He was so drunk he couldn't turn off his couldn't turn off his computer, but Chad, it was Twitter's fault because he put out a poll. Go ahead, Doctor.
But yeah, alcohol does cause anterior grade amnesia. So when we get drunk enough, we can't remember kind of forward in time from that moment when we wake up. So it may be hard to remember the details of exactly what happened. But I think in general, however alcohol consumption starts, it's a disinhibitor, which is part of why we use it to go to a bar, and it's easier to talk to people, or if you're in like a situation that you're nervous. But once you kind of start with that, the more you add on, it's really hard to give any kind of analysis as to what's happening psychologically. It's mostly just someone's pursuit of wanting to feel less.
Yeah, but also, but Chad, it blames everybody else. It's never his fault. It's his dad's fault. It's my fault. It's the internet's fault for telling him to drink. I mean, it's just like he's 50. He's not 10. Where it's like he's like fucking Bart Simpson. Where it's not. I didn't do it. You know. So Chad at some point, that's why people get sick of Chad, because he's like, he don't take responsibility for anything. Even when he gets drunk, it's not his fault. It's the internet's fault, because he put out a poll and they told him to drink and he had no choice. He couldn't. He had to stand by the decision.
Well, I think Chad, and this may be a bit of a generalization, but whenever you were younger and you got in trouble or whatever else, what would usually happen? Kind of what was the series of events if you broke something or you forgot to do something, or
as as a child?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd get beat up. Not like spanking, beat up. Like this punch, kick, you name it. Thrown downstairs.
Your stepdad would punch you and kick you.
Yes.
Yeah. So very commonly in households of abuse, any kind of admission of failure, which is really failure or not failure, it wasn't the issue. It was kind of the admission or someone finding out that there was a failure, was followed by very severe consequence. And we get habituated to not admit failure or not admit mistake in anticipation or avoidance of these perceived threats afterwards, that were very real when we were young, but aren't necessarily here, even though we feel like if we admit to doing X, Y, or Z, even worse things are going to happen afterwards. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on, but certainly that's something I see quite often with people that experience trauma in the household.
Yeah.
So wait, I'm not sure what you said. So you're saying that.
So what I'm saying is that if someone learns from a very young age that if they are found out to be wrong, and especially if they admit that they were wrong or made a mistake, and then they are severely punished as a result, they learn to either not admit or to avoid detection, to not be wrong, not only in how they do things, but also if they make a mistake or if they aren't good enough to actually not be wrong, to not admit it, to not let anyone find out, because they're avoiding this severe consequence, like being beaten.
There's a lot of truth in what you just said, because I'm visualizing one time I forgot to take out the trash, something so similar, and they said, I forgot exactly what happened, but it ended up my dad, like stepdad, punching me and throwing me downstairs. Like I remember that was so stupid. Like I said, I told my brother, and he says he's lying. He didn't tell me to do it. So it was a whole story. But yeah, you're right. That was a breakthrough. We got a breakthrough.
So
that's why. Yeah, I also just got a second payment too. So that's why Chad. He blames everything on everybody else, even when there's no really consequences. Like for him just saying, "Oh, I got drunk. I shouldn't have got drunk." He blamed it on Twitter.
So whenever confronted with the possibility that someone has made a mistake, if they've experienced this habituated response of, if I make a mistake, then severe things occur, traumatic, painful things occur, and I'm no longer safe. The animal part of our brain, the amygdala, the basal ganglia, sends a signal that don't admit anything. We're in danger if we admit. Don't whatever you can do, either defer, push it off to someone else, deflect, deny, because if we admit, our life is going to be in danger. And even if that threat no longer exists, it is lodged in our minds and in our memory.
Yeah. No, there's something there. That makes sense.
Oh, thanks, Chad. Thanks. A professional gave you some. There's something there.
Well, it just broke through. I see what he's saying, and I get why there's some things I do sometimes and why I do it.
James O'Sullivan, how about Saturday Night MLC with Chad and the Doc? Assuming they have access or can obtain Jose Cuervo authentic golden margarita. That would be a hoot. We all got drunk on a Saturday. That would be a fucking hoot.
I think I would be living in my garage afterwards.
What is AI Ray saying?
What is this?
Is it a formula?
I think that's a formula.
It looks like some code.
That's a code to fix me. If I figure that code out, I'll be back to a normal human. That's funny.
All right, I took a picture, Doc. If you want to try to analyze it later.
Sure.
War Hero John McCain. Doc, did I hear that right? The guy who can't walk is further out than Chad. The guy with no legs is miles ahead of Chad.
So it's interesting is, and again, I don't mean this to be
Quadfather is like thrilled by this. He's like,
yeah,
wow, I'm doing better than Chad.
Well, so Chad, you are doing much better than Quadfather in this world of podcasting and entertainment and so forth. But I've met so many people who have been injured and can no longer function, and the majority of them struggle with anger and just feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. And his psychological kind of state, at least what he's he's showing here to the public, seems to me that he's kind of gotten through that or is working through that. And that you're so far ahead of him professionally, but he is very advanced from a psychological perspective vis-a-vis his injury. He doesn't
strike me as a guy who goes to therapy, mental therapy.
Yeah, but I think actually podcasting probably helps him, right? Because he's so isolated in his wheelchair that by podcasting he's interacting with people all day long, probably, right?
So, Chad, when you were saying all you do is watch podcasts, I was in my office and I was yelling, "He's a quadriplegic," and my secretary came in and was like, "Who are you yelling at?"
That's funny.
It was very fun, and it was a very funny joke. Again, the back and forth was really good.
Chad, I never said you're fat, just a filthy animal. I'm not fat, by the way. Ray takes it better, and you're thick, and you're thin, looks thicker.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, he's saying you look like you got thick skin, but you're really thin skin.
I know what he's saying. Thank you, anonymous guy.
No, he's not anonymous. I know who he is. He was in our football pool, Chad. Remember the one that you ruined?
You took away, that you stole? Yeah.
Peter Brandon, happy 50th to Neil, if he's watching, or any of his pals. If any of his pals are watching, tell Neil he's got me blocked on every platform except TikTok. Peter Brennan, Doc, can you join us and sing happy birthday to our bro Neil, the third funniest Brennan, who turns 50 today, and our sister whose birthday was yesterday.
You guys must have had a lot of fun on your New Year's parties. Or your parents.
What? Huh?
This is a gestational age away from January 1st. So that your parents must have copulated on New Year's.
No, they had a lot. Well, anyway, yeah, I don't want to get too specific about I never heard them have sex. Is that weird? When you have 10 kids, you have to have a little bit of sex, right?
You guys have a big house.
At least 10 times.
Yeah. At least that is how it works. Yes.
Yeah.
I can't believe Chad's got the doctor laughing. I mean, we're really making some breakthroughs. Anyway, James Jameson. Doc, why is Chad so threatened by you? Why is Chad so threatened by Ray DeVito? Why is Chad? Thank you, James.
Yeah, maybe you can analyze that, Doc. Why do I just want to strangle him? Like when I heard you talking to him, I literally want to go through and choke him. Why does he provoke that emotion in me?
So anger is a self-soothing mechanism. We release dopamine, which is a pleasurable sensation. I talked about this before on here, but I certainly can say it again. If you think about, 50,000 years ago, if there's 100 men standing in a field and one of them gets a buzz when they kill someone, that guy's going to kill more often and kill better. And he passes his genes down and so forth. So anger, and we can show this with SPECT CT scans, releases dopamine. So whenever someone is angry, they're self-soothing. When we teach residents, anger is an ice cream. The same type of soothing one gets from eating ice cream that they do from getting angry. So my question to you would be, what distress do you think you're feeling when you see Ray that requires that you're angry to self-soothe?
I mean, besides being the most annoying person I ever met, because there's nothing based in logic, and he just runs on assumptions, and he gossips like a girl. He's always saying every comic in Cleveland hates me and all that. Every comic in Cleveland hates him, from the Booker of Hilarities, Mary Santora. They all hate him. But any chance everybody he goes up to, he starts gossiping about me. I've had 3 people tell me, "Dude, what's up with Ray?" coming up to me and just starts gossiping and telling rumors. And it gets back to me, and he's so dumb he doesn't realize. Stop gossiping about me. I don't know why that is. And then before that, what led it up to before COVID is he was always asking for favors. Like, who books that? Can you retweet this? Can you repost this? And it was never like, how are you? How you been? It's just, can you do this? It's just a needy, gossipy little girl, and I want to kill him. So
in a way, is it almost the antithesis of the good relationships you have with men?
Possibly. That makes sense too. 2 breakthroughs.
Because it's the things that you're looking for in these fatherly kind of relationships. Ray is the exact opposite. He's taking advantage of you, speaks poorly of you, doesn't want to know anything about you or help you.
And that's the thing. All these people, all these podcasts talk major shit about him, like way worse than I do. And he won't even say anything about them. But when it comes to me, he feels like some weird obligation to talk shit.
Well, you guys are from the same fucking town. You're both
doesn't matter.
Middles.
It doesn't matter where we're from. It's just we're never best friends. It was
apparently
just like,
it does. It's just the same issues I may or may not have with Neil. It's like you guys are basically from the same comedy womb. So you're both Cleveland Middles, and you both kind of hate each other because I don't know. You're just both from the same place.
Two Cleveland Middles.
Of course, Chad has his buddies' backs. You try stealing credit cards from the front.
Boom!
I mean, that's not bad.
Remember this, Nat Cram. God damn it! I have a client call from 5 to 5:30. Don't have a breakthrough till 5:31.
Well, you just had a breakthrough, and it's 5:31.
Actually, no, you had the breakthrough at like 5:26.
It was perfect. Yeah. You're good, Doc. You're good.
Thank you, Nan Cram. Why does Chad steal from disabled veterans?
Sometimes you just got to take the war in your own hands.
And I'm sure they're less spry than the abled veterans.
Yeah, that's true. It's easier.
Wasn't me, Doc. KB will have a great show with someone or a great weekend with peeps. Then the following Monday destroys relationship with these peeps. Why does he do this? KB, apologize. You may be doing this because it's best for the show. Yeah, KB, apologize. You may be doing it for his best for the show.
I mean, that would be and certainly Kevin and I could have that conversation. I think it's a longer one.
I'm taking pictures.
No, you know why? Because somebody pointed out that Lenny, my first partner, Lenny quit right after we did a live show.
Send him the link. And
then Bob quit right after we did a live show, or a live event. So there is a part of me, that once I don't really, I like with the Lenny thing. That was a little bit of a surprise, but there probably is a part of me where it's like I didn't want to make, I could have made it so that Bob quit before Atlantic City, but then the whole Atlantic City is about Bob quitting, so it's way easier if I just if it just happens after, it's, you know what I mean? It's just like, why make the whole fucking Atlantic City about Bob quitting? So there is a part of me where it's just like, well, that's done with. I don't really need him as much anymore, and so good riddance. And also, Bob's a fucking idiot, and Lenny was too, and Chad is too. So again, I'm surrounded by idiots, but like, listen, I'm not comparing myself to Howard Stern, but like I was thinking today, like, Howard Stern, he surrounds himself with idiots because it does create content. Also, none of these guys do anything once they leave. And now I know Stuttering John will be like, he did. He didn't. He got hired by Leno. It was a mistake hire. And now John's talking to Joey C and Potatoes to try to act like he's got a show. So there is a again, I don't study anybody's show. I go, I'll do it like this. But when you're dealing with losers, you just try to get as many around you so that if one quits or one acts extra losery, I'm like, good riddance, like I never want to put myself at the mercy of like Chad or Levy or any of these Ray DeVito, any of these fucking clowns, because I know they're stupid and I know they'll end up doing stupid shit, and I can't let them ruin my fucking show. The reason I let Chad go at the beginning of this version of the show was like I knew he was basically ruining the show because he was
ruining it.
He was overreacting.
The live viewers were bigger than ever. The super chat.
He was overreacting to every super chat, and I was just like, I'm like, this is a fucking. And then my money went up. My money went up when he quit. So I didn't expect that, but my money went up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get Stevie Lou, and the money's going up. Get the fuck out of here.
So this is an interesting reenactment and what makes you guys so good. Chad, you don't really need to react to that statement because he's having you on the show now. But it's his perception of more consequences. As an aside, Kevin, it is interesting that a lot of your conflicts come right outside of your professional work in person-to-person interactions, whether it's Bob Kelly or that very tall comedian. I forget what his
Gary
name is.
Goldman.
Yeah, but then you also have interesting interactions with comedians. Like your relationship with Louis C.K. is good in person, but kind of when it's not in person, it's not as good. It's a very interesting kind of complex dynamic of interpersonal relationships and their environment.
But Kevin won't have these.
Yeah, but isn't that human nature? Isn't that isn't that human nature now with texting and tweeting? Like everybody's a tough guy when they're isolated, when they're not with the people, and then when they're actually with the person. They're like they get back to being a regular guy, because
you're a tough guy in person though. That's the interesting thing, or at least you're not conflict averse in person. I remember watching that stream you had on your phone when you went up to Robert Kelly. Like that was like a thing. Like that, not a lot of people would have that level of conflict kind of openly.
Yeah, but I didn't. That wasn't it. That my intention wasn't to challenge him. My intention was just like I literally thought I hadn't been at the Comedy Cellar in like. I don't know how long, maybe a year. So I went in and I knew all the comics were in this one area, this one room. So I went in there as a joke with my phone on in case anyone confronted me. And then because I had my phone on, Bobby Kelly fucking attacked me like a pit bull. And then it got weird. So yeah, listen, I mean, the reality is it's like I'm aware of like everyone's a tough guy on Twitter and on text. So I try to not be such a hypocrite and be like, in real life, I'll kiss your ass, but once I'm not around, I'll talk tough online or in tweets or in text. But then once I see you, I'll hug it out and blah, blah, blah.
You're a phony.
No, I'm trying not to be a phony like every other fucking phony. Like Bob Levy's going to beat me half to death. Come up and do it. Come up and do it, you fucking tough guy. Hack.
It is interesting. I think I'd imagine growing up in a place with a lot of kids the same age that can fight, and also fighting with your dad physically. That kind of learning that conflict pattern early on it certainly applies to stand-up comedy. It's basically a bunch of kids.
Right.
I thought I was being analyzed, not Kevin.
My apologies.
Okay, yeah, you pay me, Chad. Give me some money back. Thank you. Wasn't me. Bill from this is your buddy, Chad.
Yeah, he's my moderator. Bill from Jersey, $20. Doctor, since we are talking about lying, would you consider seeing in your MLC chat what a listener writes and running with it without confirming it? Lying? Is that lying? Also, isn't someone who brings up your dead brother over and over abuse? This is for the doctor.
So we consider seeing. So I think bringing up information that you can't confirm is truth or lie isn't necessarily lying. If you knew that it was wrong, that would be.
That's
lying.
What Ray does. That's what Ray does.
Well, I'm just saying, kind of from this question.
Wait, what's the first part of the question? I don't even get it.
If you consider seeing something in your chat that a listener writes and running with it without confirming it's lying, I mean, it's just kind of bad reporting, I guess, or lazy communication.
Like for example, like say Kevin Brennan made out with Leslie Jones, and they're like, "It's fact, it's true. Someone said it." That's what they do.
No one thinks that counts for anything. No one. I mean, John Stutter John was like, Kevin, are you getting divorced? I'm like, why? He goes, well, I saw it on Reddit. I'm like, John, you want to see what they're saying about you on Reddit? It's a fucking joke. So nobody goes by what somebody says in someone's chat. But if Chad says, Chad's different because he's like one of the players in this world, but he'll always blame that you guys ran with it. Like he'll put out some tweet or something. He's gonna go to Atlantic City, and then he goes, "Oh, you guys ran with it." So he never. We're not counting these fucking losers in the chat or anybody's chat or anybody's fucking Discord. They make up stories all the time. These fucking losers like Dr. Chow. I mean, he's the king loser. I was laundering money. I mean, these guys are these guys are professional losers. Well, Melton's one of the players. Dr. Chow is not. Joey C is not. These guys are hanger-on. They're losers. They're nothings. And if you have them on the show a lot, you're a loser too. If you have Joey C on your show, you're a fucking loser. You have Dr. Chow on your show, you're a fucking loser. If you have a potato on your show or corn, you're a fucking loser.
Well, and I think it's a lot of this is about temporal kind of feedback loops, the immediate response and then the delayed response. Something can be joyful for us or have a positive feedback loop for us in the moment, kind of sending out a message that has, that's kind of funny. But then, an hour later, 5 hours later, a week later, we didn't really conceive or consider what that's going to be and what the feedback will be down the road. And a lot of times immediate gratification, trumps our ability to think about delayed gratification.
And you're saying everybody enjoys getting angry, or some people enjoy it more than others?
No, anger releases dopamine in all of us. It's a self-soothing mechanism.
And when you feel like when you're upset, you get angry because it calms you down.
Right. It makes you feel better. We are all the progeny. We are the children of very violent individuals that reproduced. That's how we all got here.
You're talking about my dad now, or Chad's dad?
Yeah.
Like great grandfathers.
Chad, he can't walk. Chad, he can't walk. Also, Shuli ain't got no money. Allegedly, but also really, Chad, he can't walk. Also, I think you said it wrong. Is that what he's saying?
I don't know.
He said he can't walk too.
We gotta get caught up.
Shuli ain't got no money. AZ Cats, is Chad willing to comp the Good Doctor's ticket for $25 so we can see Chad's comedy set and get 3 drinks and a free dinner? Yeah, how'd that gig go? How'd that gig go?
It was fine. It was just a friend of mine opened up a little comedy shop. It was fine.
Oh, but Melton said it was a disaster.
Yeah, Melton says a lot of things. I think you'll catch on eventually. It doesn't matter. Like, I still do comedy. He doesn't. None of you guys do. You guys don't do stand-up. I still do it. I like it.
So, quick question, just right there. Do you think that what Melton said was true?
About what?
Chad, Melton saying it was a disaster. Do you think that was true?
It wasn't a disaster. It was fine.
Right. So this is I can't believe we just caught one of these. So Kevin says something that Melton said back to you. And he doesn't really, Kevin starts drinking out of his coffee cup afterwards. He really has thrown away the comment. However, you catch it and have a very emotional response to it. And the value of this interaction is you've now lit some fireworks for what is really an untruth that was untrue. You knew you were doing it to help out a friend, or your friend just opened up a new place and it was something fun to do. And it didn't even matter. It wasn't supposed to be a 5,000 seat arena or anything like that.
No.
But what is it that just caused you to self-soothe with such an emotional reaction? What's the function of what you just did?
And I'll explain it again. This is the 50th time I heard it this week. It's like I get in DMs, I get in the messages like, I heard you was Melton said it was a disaster. I'm like, okay, Melton says a lot of things. So this is now I'm reading it again and I'm annoyed. I'm like, okay, whatever. Who cares?
But how many free drinks did they get?
I don't know. It
said on the flyer you got 4 free drinks.
He probably analyzed my gig more than I did. The guy told me.
But then you tweeted it. You gotta start saying no to gigs more often.
It wasn't because of that gig. It was because of another one that I booked.
Oh, in the future or in the past?
Yeah, next week.
Oof.
Yeah.
AZ Cats, thank you. Melton got stabbed. It's not tartar sauce on Chad's face. It's coleslaw. Yeah, is there any correlation why people send Chad coleslaw?
I don't know, but that's terrifying that people send coleslaw. That would really freak me out.
That's another thing.
Are you serious, Doctor?
Yeah. That's. I've had stalkers before.
But coleslaw specifically, or just that kind of food?
No, just when people know where you live and you don't know who they are. That's a very dangerous thing.
Doctor, I get things like at least 4 days a week at my front door, just random shit. Like, I don't know where it's coming from or what it's all about. It's scary.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're going through that.
No, it's fine. I'm already in the process of looking at it for a new place to live.
MMC1, the doc is talking about Chad looking for someone fatherly. Kevin is looking for the red screen from Broccoli.
And hopefully not a super sticker.
I had to take a picture of this one.
Doctor,
my phone's acting weird, but
Doctor, what's your take on Kevin making a shitload of money from the show and not updating any of his equipment?
I think that's kind of the kitschiness of it.
That's part of the charm.
Yeah, I think he's trying to display this idea, portray this image of he doesn't care, but he cares very much. So there's a contrast there, which is very interesting.
It's part of the show, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I tried to fix my mic one time, and it was a nightmare. Furious, name this episode "Dupers Delight."
Oh, we're really behind.
I think we're already calling it that.
Doc, what's your thoughts on Chad's hate for everything gay? Yeah, why is he so homophobic? Good question, Chip.
I don't hate gay people at all.
But you're extremely homophobic. Does that always imply homosexuality tendencies?
So I would pitch, by the way, Chad, I don't know how you feel about how this is going so far, but if we were going to do a second one, I think kind of interpersonal relationships, intimacy, relationships, sexuality, I think that would be a whole nother 2.5 hours. I don't even really want to start much on this because there's so much there to talk about.
Can Adam, you just tease us for episode 2? What would you be talking about?
Adam, book it in December. We'll do it in December.
Like Breaking Bad always gives you a little teaser for the next episode.
It would be like intimate relationships, attraction, sexuality, gender, that whole thing. Relationships with your mother.
He doesn't want his own family. That's why he doesn't want any. But I understand he doesn't want his own family, but why is he so homophobic? Just anything because that's an intimate relationship too, and that's he likes Florentine, but he doesn't want to take it to that level.
There's lots of reasons that we'd have to have a bit of a conversation, Chad, because this is a big kind of thing to talk about. But in general, anger, self anger is external anger. Kind of self loathing is external loathing. Self criticism is what we criticize outwardly. That can be part of it. It can be not wanting to disappoint cultural norms. It can be fear of consequences. Who knows what it is? But we'd have to have a pretty significant conversation to answer.
Let me tease this real quick.
Well, wait, what's Don Jameson? Who's more obsessed with Florentine, Don Jameson or Chad?
Yeah, what's your clinical study on that?
Don Jameson and Jim seem to be fairly kind of attached. The music component too seems to be they're very kind of mirroring each other quite a bit in terms of their interests and how they look.
And we'll end up in a lover's relationship.
I think, mirroring in general is very common in close relationships.
They have girlfriends.
Yeah, all gay people do.
But I'm not saying anybody is anything. I'm just saying that mirroring is a signal of a close relationship.
So it doesn't
not intimate.
It doesn't imply homosexuality.
No, they're just similar.
Well, Doc, let me tease you with this for the next episode. So the last girl I really was in love with was 2004. And I moved out to LA for her. That's why I got into comedy and everything, because she broke up with me 3 weeks when I was there. We're doing long distance. I met her at Kent State, and she was like the most perfect girl. To this day, I've never met a girl that was more perfect, and I realized I dropped it. It was all my fault. Kevin, I take full responsibility. It was because of me we broke up. Anyways, she's the one that got away, and to this day, I compare every girl that I ever talked to her, and
that's very common. We can create those narratives as their function being that we don't get into another relationship.
Yeah, I was already at the mountaintop.
Or at least we tell ourselves the story that was the mountaintop.
Thank you. St. Ranger, howdy, doctor. Liars enjoy successfully lying, and people who don't feel forced to lie enjoy the freedom to speak their mind. Clip it. What's he saying?
I think that's what we were saying.
No, but what's he saying?
We're saying, people who lie and get away with it, they enjoy it.
But how about the people that get lied to?
So the people who don't feel forced to lie enjoy the freedom to speak their mind. So people who are feel strong and feel like they aren't threatened by their apex predators, so to speak, enjoy speaking their mind. They enjoy being lions.
But how should people, like when Chad lies and we're lied to, how should we feel? Should we be hurt or annoyed? What's the normal reaction?
Well, it depends on your expectation of the relationship. Certainly trust gets broken when we lie, and trust is something that permeates through all components of a relationship. We lie in one place, we just assume they're going to be lying in all places. So it's a really quick way to destroy a relationship.
It's annoying when you're not lying.
Right, but once you start, it's kind of like if you go to a restaurant and the hors d'oeuvres have a hair in them, you're not going to be like, well, the entree is definitely not going to have hair in it. You're like, this place has hair everywhere. We're not eating here anymore.
Amy Elizabeth, we understand the origins of when does an adult take responsibility and change his or her behavior?
So the idea of this conversation, and truly, Chad, the reason that I want to do this in general, and the pitch that I gave Kevin when we first started talking, I truly want everyone to feel like they can get better and do better. And the first step and the hardest step by far is insight, or an understanding of what's really going on. And thankfully, what my job is mostly is what we're doing today. The actual treatment it's very kind of straightforward and comes with time, but it always requires an insight and understanding of how we got here. And most people don't have any idea.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Chad said he hasn't drank in 30
days. Today's 30 days. Congrats.
Thanks.
Okay, but I mean, obviously people drug and drink themselves so they cannot deal with themselves. Is it so? If Chad considers this, because I know how alcoholics and drug addicts, especially comics, they're doing well they don't drink for a month or two, and then they have some success, and they're like, let me celebrate by drinking. Geraldo did that all the time. So if Chad starts drinking again, does everything get thrown out the window? Any progress he makes, or is again, it's just like this is a cycle that he does, or he fucks up, he gets sober, he's clean for a month or two, he has some success, and he's like, I'm doing so well, I can drink again or do drugs again.
Chad, would you say does that fit your experience that whenever the drinking starts, things don't go well quickly?
As much as I want to argue with Kevin, it makes sense. It does. And I think like right now I'm on a good track right now. And for example, I was sober for a year and a half, and I did that first live at Gotham with Norm, and it was like such a thrill, and we all had a drink, and I was like, no big deal. Next thing, it was gradually got worse and worse and worse, and became a spiraling thing when I was doing so well. But yeah, there's something to that. I'll give Kevin that.
So in general, whenever we're treating alcohol use disorder, if you just use abstinence-based therapy, meaning going to meetings or doing talk therapy, about 1 in 5 people can stay sober for 6 months, about 20%. The only medication that has a statistical improvement in that sense is an injection called Vivitrol. It's a once-a-month intramuscular gluteal injection of naltrexone, which is an
I thought you were going to say
antagonist.
cocaine.
No.
Okay, Chad will do it if Florentine can give him the shot.
So Vivitrol doubles the likelihood of that you remain sober for at least 6 months. I've also used a medication called Antabuse, which is the one that makes you sick whenever you drink. Interestingly, Antabuse was approved in 1952, which is 2 years before the FDA required that you show drugs work. You just had to show they didn't kill anybody. But the way that I use Antabuse is if you're going to a situation where you're going to drink or there's a higher likelihood, like for salesmen going to sales expos.
Like this podcast?
Well, or you're going to a stand-up show, that day, if you take the Antabuse before you go for 24 hours, you can't drink or you're going to get sick. And a lot of people have a lot of success with that. But yeah, in general, life is a lot easier when you're working through something like trauma or any other kind of psychological issue without unforced errors. And the alcohol just is its own big problem.
Kevin, give him my number. I'm going to look into this.
Ray knows some dark Cleveland secrets about Chad. Well, I think they both know each other's secrets.
I don't
think Chad has many secrets. That's the issue.
I don't. He makes stuff up, and I don't look into Ray like he looks into me. He like looks for stuff and tries to get things. If anybody has anything remotely bad about me, he's running with it. Anything remotely bad. The difference between Ray and I is if somebody doesn't like me, I don't care. I want them to not like me. Ray's like, I want everyone to like me. It's not coming from an authentic place. It's not coming from a good place. So fuck you, Ray.
Or also like, it's okay. Ray doesn't matter or no one really matters and whatever they want to do.
Yeah, but he used me for my connections and he got on Kevin's show because of me. He should be thanking me that he's actually making money.
Does KB still take pictures of super chats? Nope.
No.
But again, today we're on the show. Things are good.
Yeah.
Hi, Doc. Corniff wants to say hi, Doc.
Hey, Corniff. Big fan.
Chad, how was the hype train in the sauna yesterday? Just booked the mayor here just booked my room at the Borgata for Super Bowl Sunday, Monday. Yeah. Doc, what do you think about Super Bowl Monday being a holiday? Holiday.
That's pretty cool. We take off for election day in our office. I don't know. Maybe I should give everyone off for Super Bowl. Everyone comes in really tired that day.
Yeah, it's more important than Flag Day.
I thought you were going to say the other day.
Yeah, I thought
you're so homophobic.
Yeah, I throw curveballs.
Ski Mask Media, Doc, why is Chad single? Even I got some pusazi.
Hack.
But that could be episode 2. There's quite a lot there.
There's a lot to unpack. I like that phrase.
Doc, you think KB and Neil can
guard?
Playing pickup basketball?
I think that's what they're saying.
Doc, you think KB and Neil can guard versus Levy Jones 1-on-1? Like us both
2-on-1?
Yeah,
2-on-1 in basketball. It's hard to beat two guys.
But she could do it. She's one of the few. She's a big gal. This label, Doctor, why did Chad remove me as a moderator on his YouTube channel? Rude. We were best friends. What happened?
So I'd imagine, Chad, this may be a replaying of these boundary kind of issues that we were talking about, very low boundaries and then a disappointment or being exploited and then reactionarily high boundaries.
I think you gave that way too much thought, Doc. I love this labeled. Somebody told me he was blocking super chatters. So just for precautionary reasons, it wasn't like me trying to be, I'll put you back dislabeled. Somebody just said you were blocking super chatters. That's
Wait,
all
you actually, sorry, I got distracted. You were actually analyzing that?
Yeah. He gave it like actual thought and I'm laughing at it.
This is
by the way, this is why I don't use my real name or kind of my identity. If anyone saw what I was putting this much energy into, they would be shocked.
This labeled as the guy who literally stole from a blind man. I know Chad steals credit cards from veterans, but this labeled actually stole from a blind man. So
disabled veterans.
Yeah.
Gustav.
Chad, can you explain your attempted sexual assault on Kelsey Cook while she was still married? Also, Chad, look at her. Look at you. Because she would never, and I mean never, be interested in you.
Who's Chelsea Cook?
She's a comic from LA.
Yeah, but what was the story with her?
It was something when it was going through the Patton Oswalt, she like blocked me. And I just did her podcast and I thought we were cool. And I called her a bitch on Twitter.
Wow, that's crazy.
I like Patton's early stuff.
Yeah, like killing his wife.
Like the spaceships, werewolves, and whatever. That book's really good.
All right. Well, Chad, Chad did come to me one time. He asked me to go after Kelsey Cook. He said he acted like I was a fucking troll for hire. He goes, "Hey, this is kind of your thing. Can you go after Kelsey Cook?" And I was like, for what? He goes, "I don't like her." And I'm like, no, that's not what I do. I didn't even know what my brand was at the time. But the fact that Chad and Kelsey Cook is like a little lady. She's not like super well known. And it just seemed like real vindictive on Chad's part. I think she might have was she married? She's married now, or she was always she was dating. She used to go on. I don't think she was married then. The point is, Chad's got a lot of issues with like everybody, but I think also women.
Coming from Kevin.
No, also women. Like this Kelsey Cook doesn't bother anybody, but Chad
doesn't bother me now.
Wanted me to go. Yeah, now 6 years later, but he wanted me to go after her. I was like, what? And another thing also Chad did. Well, this is stupid, but. This is all from the Comedy Cellar because, I used to work there and Kelsey Cook used to work there. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to start a fucking feud with somebody I don't even have a feud with just because you asked me to. Huh?
She's passed at the Cellar?
Anyway, and then Chad, one time he was at the Cellar. You probably heard the story. Chad was hanging around the Cellar. He wasn't past there. He was just hanging around Godfrey or whatever. So, you can – this story is so stupid, but it's typical Chad. Like, Chad was drunk. I can eat for free at the Comedy Cellar. So Chad was like, "Hey, why don't you order panini? The paninis are $10 on the menu. Why don't you order panini and I'll give you $5, and that way you make $5 and I save $5." And I was like, I looked at him like, "Are you a fucking idiot?" So I'm gonna steal from the Comedy Cellar. So you'll save $5, and I thought I thought that's when I started thinking. I mean, I always thought Chad was an idiot, but that's when you have like examples of you like, is this guy a fucking
comics do that
loser?
all the time? They do that all the time.
Yeah, again, everybody lies. Comics do it all the time. Nobody asks someone to save them $5 to have a fake like Chad. I'll pretend I'm taking. I'll take a Phantom Bite.
I was like,
I'll give you the panini.
So what would be less funny right now, but certainly more healthy, Chad, if you're just like, yeah, that probably was a dumb idea.
No, it's a great idea. For saving money, and you have a Comedy Store regular?
$5.
Yeah, at the time when I was living with Gino, it wasn't doing well. Okay,
$5. Right.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
I just given you the time. I think I just bought you the sandwich. You fucking. But it's like it was typical Chad, where it's like
every comic.
What? And yeah, everybody does it. Everybody lies, and everybody.
Fucking Ray DeVito, and this is a fact, Ray. You go to Gas Digital when he's not even booked on a fucking podcast just so he could raid the refrigerator and drink their beer and eat all their food. That's what comics were doing back then.
Okay, Ray does that. Ray, that's what comics were doing. Nobody does it except for you and Ray and Barry Ribs.
So this is a great example of, whenever we struggle with the perceived consequences of admitting wrongdoing, even if it's not necessarily
it's not wrong.
But if we just say, even if we just say in general, okay, if we avoid the deflection, the resistance to admission, it's actually a lot less distressing psychologically. You don't even have to agree with him. You could just say I bet that was a weird experience for you, or I can see how you wouldn't.
I still to this day don't see anything wrong with it. Like if I was at the Cellar of Godfrey, I was like, hey man, I'm gonna order some food. He's like, yeah, order it in my name, and you get the discount.
Yeah. So, but what's interesting is when you go to the Ray or the all comics part, that kind of goes back to this real, vigorous avoidance of wrongdoing. And I think that has more to do with historical issues than rather kind of how you actually
see what
feel
they charge for food and drink at the Cellar. Are you kidding me?
Right. But we're not doing it like right now. That $10 isn't in play, like in our day-to-day life right now while we're talking.
I was going to leave the waitress a big tip. So
shut up. You fucking hack.
How much does a Cellar make a weekend?
Don't worry about it. The food's cheap. That's not where they make the money. The point is, again, Chad, it's never Chad's fault. He thinks his dad's going to hit him. I wish his dad would hit him.
So your dad would hit you again.
What's interesting is, Chad, you asked kind of like, how do you get this better? What we were just doing there right now is exposure therapy, or kind of the reliving therapy. We get you into a place where you have some of these reactions, and we talk through re-engaging with them with a different kind of mechanical that doesn't feel right reaction, and then we repeat that until we start to habituate it. Because again, the point being not that you're right or wrong. The point is you don't need the emotional distress. I mean, I'm sure you feel a little exhausted after each one of these defenses because it takes energy.
Yeah, that's why I was drinking all the time when I was on the show with Bob and him. I was like, I had to get through it.
Yeah, and it's the other option is you don't have to put up the defense every time you think the army's coming, because it's never an army. It's just a little bird.
It's a one-man army.
Every time someone knocks on Chad's door, he thinks it's his stepdad coming to hit him again. I think that's why he's fucking paranoid.
Hit the like button.
Hey, we got a couple of $50. Oh, you got.
Yeah, I'm putting them up now. Perfect. Chauncey Gardner, Doc, as Quadfather has accepted his disability and learned to move forward and accept it, will Chad ever be able to accept Ray as fire?
I'm quite comfortable in that situation.
I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to break like this. That's
unprofessional.
It was very unprofessional. Mostly what I was having is I appreciate you not responding to that. That was the part that made me laugh the most.
Take away his license.
Philly Franks 5. Dr. Chad is a defensive, lying individual, and I think he's a homophobe. I come from a rough upbringing in South Philly, and I picked myself up through hard work, which seems absent here. When should Chad admit this is his life? Alone and broke. Go Phillies. Go Philly.
Yeah. I hope they lose at the Super Bowl.
Philly Franks 5, we know him. He's a good egg, and I'm sure that's 100% true. I'm sure he grew up in a rough neighborhood. He is from Philly, so I'm sure this is 100% legit
I hope
story.
they beat the shit out of you.
They're not gonna. They're not. The Philly doing great.
Marconi Park guy. So yeah, I know South Philly's. I love South Philly. Yeah, I mean, so look, the mechanisms with which we get out of the world that we start and where we end up, everyone has a different path. Some of those paths can be really functional in our adulthood. Some can be very dysfunctional. Some are like, knives in the kitchen. You can cut yourself or you can make wonderful dinners. It's just how you use the tools.
You're good with the analogies. I'll give you that.
I'm sure he's thrilled you gave him that. After Chad did his Kumia Country bit saying he did it to get traction for the show, then complained that Ray and everyone wouldn't stop talking about him. Work that one out, Doc. I've been war hero John McCain.
So
go ahead, Doc.
I think we did work that out. I think Chad deceived us for the joy of it, and because there's a habituation to it. And then once kind of confronted, kind of not thinking about the long-term effects of the deception, but more just habitually, instinctively kind of telling for the short-term kind of joy.
It was short-term deception.
Right. So Chad lives in a moment, but then he gets mad when people bring it up later.
But then when the consequences or the conflict of the accusations come, there's an avoidance of admitting of wrongdoing because this belief that there's even worse consequences waiting after the admission, like he has experienced over and over again in a very formidable part of his life when his brain is maturing, in the household. So it actually makes a lot of sense as a psychiatrist watching all this unfold.
Yeah.
So wait, he never admits, he never cops to it. He just doesn't want to deal with it in the future.
No. If you notice, Chad, and that's what we've been going back and forth on. It's not that you don't want anything to do with it. You vehemently deny. You do anything you can to not have this process of admission take place. Again, possibly because of the belief that something even worse will happen afterwards if you admit.
Plus, it's an overwhelming mob effect of hundreds of people coming at you with the same thing, and you're by yourself. I'm like Jet Li just fighting everybody.
Yeah, all you had to say was, I didn't. You could just tell what happened with Kumia Country. Instead, you dragged it out for fucking weeks, maybe months even. I'm not even sure.
But again, what's interesting about that, Chad, is if you could harness that and not allow it to take control of you, but you control it and start to manage and work through it, it's actually a really complex way to tell stories and make jokes. And whenever you slide in and out of really good comedy, there are times when I'm watching you and it's like, wow, if you did an hour of this, it would be incredible.
You hear what happened to Anthony Cumia? He had like a stroke.
No, he had triple
heart
bypass.
attack, I think.
Yeah, well, that's called karma for what happened before.
For Kumia Country?
Yeah, it's karma.
And you created it by
Yes.
All right. Is that part of his charm? His delusions? I mean, a lot of people in this world have a lot of delusional behavior. Is that common in show business? Is that common with people?
I don't think that was necessarily delusional the way that I use the word, but there was a bit of an avoidance of a compliment there.
What do you mean?
Oh, it's saying that Chad's very funny and that he's, every once in a while does very, very high level comedy because of this trauma kind of thing.
I know. That's why everybody in chat is probably discrediting you right now. They're like, this guy's a quack. No, but I'm saying it is like Ray Ray's not here, but you watch these shows enough that is this the people in this world have a high levels of delusional behavior, or is this normal, or is this normal for people in show business, or is it normal in general for people?
I'd say that the level of pathology here is a bit greater than normal.
See?
Yeah, I'd say
we're doing great over here.
We're doing it.
That's part of why it's like watching a lot of people who would definitely need a psychiatrist without any psychiatrist insight,
without any help.
So I really appreciate it as a psychiatrist. I really do enjoy all these shows.
Furious Doctor, what do you think about Chad challenging Ray to a debate or joke off?
I don't know why you would.
A jerk off.
No. Chad wants to debate Ray here on the show, and they can just have a screaming fight about who's better and who's whatever. I mean, I do it, but it might just be ridiculous. It might not. It just might not accomplish anything.
Yeah, Chad, do you think it would accomplish much?
I don't know. Maybe he could come. Maybe he could air it out. Not with Ray, because he doesn't listen, and whatever advice he gets, he's not going to take. So, I'm taking away.
He'd say the same thing about you.
No, because I'm taking away stuff from this conversation.
That was Ray, and then he was drinking 3 days later after the doctor told him don't drink. He took a 3-day break, and
it was it was temporal lobe, not frontal lobe, as an aside. It was lobe damage.
When I get off of this, I'm going to process. Ray's not processing. I process.
You're going to go to Wawa, get some beer, get some Tito's, and then start processing.
I'm not drinking.
Well,
Chris Mack.
The idea with the Chad and Ray thing was that it would be organized and it would be fair, almost like a presidential debate.
Like a
so I think
Carlos Danger moderator.
And we'd mute whoever so there wasn't yelling over each other.
And they would have to, sort of prepare, and it would be a little more constructive than just your average, just shouting.
No cards.
Right. Yeah, no cards.
Teleprompter.
Chris Mack. KB, it'd be funny if you could apply the good doctor's logic regarding weak creatures lying to a certain ethno-religious group. Am I right, Chad? Ask Chad to see. I almost said it. Anyway, this is
Doctor, what do you think about these anonymous guys in masks and potatoes, and they're saying the worst things ever to people? What do you think the reason? Are they cowards?
I can't comment much.
Are they hideous? Are they ugly?
I just think that it's so easy to ruin people's lives remotely that showing your identity, if you have anything at stake, I'm not using my name here, but I'm sure, and that people have found me already. And like I said, a lot of people in the entertainment business have already asked to come work with me.
Here's the dirty little secret. His name's Eddie Baker.
Wasn't Eddie Baker the fake super chatter?
Yeah,
that's you.
One and the same. Oh, you're the fake. You're the fake super chatter.
Yeah, this is like the Sixth Sense.
This is all a work.
I don't super chat. Could you imagine this is one huge work? I'm learning all of this. I've only got 3 episodes in.
No, everybody's in on it, but me. You and Chad been organized this for.
I know he's not even a doctor. I set it up. I had him contact you.
Peter Brennan. One reason why Chad lies. Tim Cassidy on KB's roast.
Oh shit! How's Tom Cassidy doing?
Wait, what is he saying? One reason Chad lies. Tom Cassidy on KB's roast.
Was he the guy that had the Discovery Channel show?
No.
Oh
no.
There's the one guy that roast was really good.
A Discovery Channel?
Dan Soder?
No, there was an older guy right in the beginning. Oh no, you know what? I'm thinking of the Patrice roast. My bad. Sorry.
Teddy, what about Chad's doxing of people? Yeah, what about Chad doxing people and going after people's family and children?
I think this goes back to the anger and violence releasing dopamine. Whenever we feel kind of very distressed, we tend to lash out. And in this environment, that's one of the ways that we can be violent.
Yeah, going back to that, I didn't dox her
So
at all.
I mean, listen. I appreciate you, doctor. You know that, but Chad's going to take that like it's totally okay to go after people's family because the doctor explained it logically and clinically. But it's not okay to go after people's family, right?
No, just like it's not okay to eat ice cream all day because then you get really.
No, now you're comparing it to eating ice cream. I'm saying isn't it bad to like attack people's family? Innocent victims like at hummus and Gaza.
Yeah, it's just like that.
And I would say in general, yes, this is more about the criminality that we were talking about before and kind of social norms. I'm not condoning any of it, just describing it. Yes, you don't want to do violence is not something that's necessary.
Terrorist organization.
What about Chad's doxing people? The lady defended him, and she had to get a new job. She had to get a new job. Spaghetti Tooth John.
She's probably lying. It's like
you're probably lying.
She had to get go to her Twitter. Her name's on Twitter. I didn't dox anybody.
Okay, well then she had to get a new job. The lady defended him. She had to get a new job because of him trashing people's families on Twitter. Wouldn't he do the opposite to protect others because of his childhood? Good question. Also, this woman, this Spaghetti Tooth John, she drove to fucking Dallas to watch Chad's terrible comedy, and she didn't say anything. She didn't give the review that Chad liked, so he attacked her, and then she had to jump off all these shows. She used to be a big supporter.
She was lying.
She wasn't lying. You could tell she wasn't lying. I watched the clip. She wasn't lying.
And then she ran the Discord.
She ran with it.
And she said all this crazy stuff about me. So she's dead to me. I don't care.
She didn't say anything.
Guess what, broad? You wasted 3 hours of your life driving to see me. Ha ha.
See, look, she drove to see him, and he says, "Guess what, broad?" I mean, he's a psychopath.
Well, you should see what she's saying about me on Melton's Discord. Fuck her.
Okay, she don't have a show. So
then go away.
On some level, you got to be a fucking. You got to be. First of all, any fan that shows up to your show, you should be sucking her dick. So the fact that you went after her because she didn't like the fucking Yelp review she gave, you're a fucking hack.
Yeah, you're just pandering right now. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, I'm pandering to Spaghetti Tooth John.
Anyways, keep going.
Is there any truth to that? Shouldn't he be more sensitive to other people since he was traumatized?
Unfortunately, we reenact these behaviors. We don't reflexively do the opposite.
Wow. Teddy, do you have to go, doctor?
Like 6:30ish.
We'll wrap it up.
We'll cut ahead to this one, since I said I would do the Bentley. Jason Bentley, the $5 Panini scam might be sadder than the credit cards or sauna story. Please stop. I can't take anymore. Chad is like Frank Burns in more ways than just the lips.
Well, I don't get the $5 Panini. What's that about?
That's the story I taught about the seller.
So I'll be Chad. I'll give you the response that would be the least emotional distress. I'll play you. Yeah, it was a pretty dumb Panini scam. Next super chat.
But I don't think it was a Panini.
It was a Panini. You wanted me to order you a Panini, and I would get it for free, and you would give me $5. So I would gain $5, and the waitress would probably be like,
I think it was wings.
It wasn't wings. It was a fucking panini. It was a
How do you
roast beef
remember?
panini. Because I do. Because I remember shit.
Or you could be saying, if I could only eat 100 paninis, that would have been $500.
Why did you remember that? It's so dumb.
Or what if
Why
he
did
said
I
something
remember
like,
it?
what if he said like, hey, what can I say? I'm a frugal guy.
Yeah. So like that's
just
the idea is like
low impact.
And the idea, Chad, is that if we avoid this real focus on I cannot admit this,
I'm more concerned about what I ordered than anything else that was said.
Right. So that's a form of deflection because we changed the topic of the conversation.
Deflecting. I'm like,
You're deflecting. He's a fucking doctor. You're a hack.
But I am really I am totally
deflecting.
trying to help you because whenever you engage in these responses, it's emotionally draining. It takes energy. And then over time, the more of those that happen, you said yourself, when these things happen over and over and over again, that's when they get so distressing for you, whether it's a sauna and so forth. I think it's because each time you're putting so much energy into the avoidance of admission, where just like Adam said, just something really stupid and throwaway. Yeah, I'm a frugal guy. Boom. Next chat. There's no energy spent on your end, and you feel much better afterwards.
All right, I'm taking note. I listen.
Yeah, and there's nothing coming out. Nothing is going to come if you admit or don't fight against all these things. There's no other consequence coming. We just move on.
All right.
Thank you, Bentley. Doc, if someone is late every day for his podcast, how much percentage to death?
Yeah, the lateness in general, I'm not saying specifically, but lateness in general is a rejection of the superego and a rejection of kind of paternal figures internally. So if someone's rebels quite a bit against supervision or paternal figures, lateness can be a way that they exercise that rebellion.
Like today, I was late. I apologize, but I was late. I was not going to be late. I plan on not being late, and then the cat shit, and then if I don't clean it up, nobody will clean it up, and then it'll smell the fucking. So I just clean it up. So then I'm like, that's why I was late. So I was completely 100% ready to go out of respect for the doctor's time, and then the cat shit. So fucking take it out on him. But yeah, how much percentage to death should he get beat up? Yeah, that's a good question. Oh, Pecker. Party boy, darn, I overstayed in the sauna again, missed the first 90 minutes of the session. He's allegedly gay, and so Chad gets nervous whenever I read Party Boy's super chats. Doc, will Chad ever grow and become a good person? Follow-up question, will Chad's upper lip ever grow and become a proper lip?
Was this Levy?
This is from a war hero.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody can change.
But how about his lip? No, I'm kidding.
We can all change.
At 50, what are the odds at 50
48
people are going to change? No, I'm talking about in general. I'm rounding up. You and Ray, what are the chances that they're going to change?
So the reason to
change.
No,
not only that. Sorry to cut you off, Doctor, but it's like also as a comic, you're not in a tradition. You're not in any traditional. You're not in a corporate structure. They don't have girlfriends. They don't have family. So I mean, part of like corporate structure, part of like interpersonal relationships, they're the kind of like guardrails to let you know when you're being a dick and when you're not being a dick. So if these guys have nobody really in their life to go, what the fuck are you doing? Like a boss or a girlfriend or a wife or anybody, what are the odds for them to change?
Well, I don't know how likely or unlikely it is, but I will tell you that the timeline you're fighting against is Erickson, who's this very famous psychiatrist, talks about the stages of life. And the one that comes when we're in our 60s and 70s is when our bodies start to deteriorate. It's called integrity versus despair. As we lose our physical integrity and ability to do new things, we have to look back on our lives and believe that we had integrity in the way that we lived our lives and happy with the choices that we made. And if we aren't able to do that, we develop despair. And it's one of the harder kind of depressive states to treat in older age because there's nothing we can do. We can't time travel. So I'd say the motivation should be that by the time I can't do anything new, I've done enough that I'm proud of.
Okay, I'll be sure to do that.
Chad's going to hang his hat on it fucking live at Gotham.
No, I think Chad's going to do really cool things. And Chad, if I can help in any way, I really think if you could figure out lasso this trauma stuff, there's a lot here. Professionally and personally, truly.
Thank you.
Wait, what'd you say about the trauma stuff?
I really think that there's so many
I can
movies
lasso it.
and stories in pop culture where people use these themes of how humans react to trauma to create stories that we all love. Cinderella is a great one. There's so many, and if Chad really has experienced so much trauma, if he can turn this into a tool that he understands how it works and doesn't let it run his life, I actually think there's a lot of really good content he could create.
Wow.
Thank you. Speaking of which, SilkCityHotSauce.com, Mud Shark Mania, 15% off your order with the promo code SHARK. You're going to want it.
You're really not helping me here on that one, Chad.
Hey, doctor, can I ask, what do you like recommend? I know this is kind of like a general thing, but in a situation like this where you're like somebody has a lot of trauma in terms of, I mean, I've heard it can be sort of described as like a permanent scar or like a muscle that contracts and never sort of opens up.
Yeah. So what would you do for it?
I mean, like just sort of in general, like.
So what you do for it, in my personal opinion, there's this program called Seeking Safety. It's not it was developed at Harvard. A huge percent of people who struggle with trauma also struggle with substance use disorder. If you find a therapist who does Seeking Safety, the likelihood of you working through this is incredibly high. In Seeking Safety, you start not from the trauma itself. You actually never really talk about the trauma. You talk about the endpoints and the consequences, and things like the way we talk about ourselves, our boundaries, our relationships, how we respect our time, and you work from the outside in. I can't tell you how many people, literally, at this point, over 1,000 patients I've done therapy with Seeking Safety that have completely walked past their trauma and processed and worked through it and their substance use at the same time. It's one of my favorite things to do as a psychiatrist.
And that's something that people can just kind of do themselves. You're saying
no, you'd find a therapist who's been trained in Seeking Safety. It's incredible how well it works. I mean, it feels like it's a cheat code, like if you have Game Genie or something.
Chad, are you writing this down? Any of this down?
Adam, what he's trying to say is muscle milk, magnets, apple cider vinegar. I take it you should
got
too.
it. Do you suggest Lamictal or Latuda?
Saint Ranger, great show. Saint Ranger, great show. Howdy to the 930 here in the chat. Hi, Pam.
Hey, Pam.
Allegedly take Quadfather on the road and do bumping mics. Yeah, Quadfather really can't. That'd be a hoot taking him on the road.
You have to have a wheelchair ramp.
Hey, Doc, isn't doing public therapy session with viewers paying to ridicule your patient considered totally unethical? Can we see a medical license?
So I'm actually not getting paid, and we had a conversation about giving permission to have this conversation. We do therapy in front of residents, medical students all the time. But yeah, I'm certainly not asking and would never take money for this and would never do it without Chad's permission.
Good try, Carl.
Pay him. Pay the man. He's helping me.
No, it's okay. It's whatever this amount would be is not really like the scale.
maybe I'll honestly afterwards I'll get information from Kevin and maybe hit you up.
Mr. Kill Everything, go through Adam. I'd rather not deal with you, Chad.
Yeah, well, I always give all the resources that the doctor suggests. I'll pass them on to you.
I'm too busy avoiding any human interaction off air.
Yeah, kind of. You got it.
You got it.
All right, let me read this. Mr. Kill Everything. When we met Ray and Carl,
got it.
Chad wasn't brought up once. You know why? Because you guys don't know me in real life. Ray likes to go up to people that know me and start talking shit. Like if he sees like a Cleveland comic or a
Carl
comic
knows you.
I'd spend the whole time talking about how handsome they both are.
They're ugly.
Who, Carl and Ray?
Yeah, all four of them.
But yes, again, Chad, I'm role playing you here.
I got you.
Mr. Kill, Pecker. Yeah, Mr. Kill was there. He was in Detroit. Pecker, Doc, does having a head too big for your shoulders increase the probability of accusing other people's fans of punching you in the face at a bar?
Why bring up old stuff?
Because that's all we have. We don't know the future. All we have is right now and the past.
Sounds like a Whitney Houston song.
I hope so.
I used to get punched. I still do, but
I used to too. Yeah, did you even get punched? How did they make contact with your face?
With a fist?
And that was a pretty common kind of injury pattern for.
Yeah, but he only had one mark on his whole. The guy made a perfect punch, like a Pat Dixon, allegedly.
Well, so actually, what happens is if you get a laceration that's kind of it's hard enough, it actually kind of the hematoma, the blood that pools, goes into places like underneath your eye, kind of thinner skin. It's actually very common, kind of the pattern that shows.
Thank you.
He's saying theoretically. He's not saying it happened to you.
But that's you guys like. I told you what happened, but you're like, oh, something else happened. No.
Yeah, and if you look at kind of the development of the bruise, it actually the timing and the sizing, it all kind of lines up to a blunt force trauma.
Thank you. This has been the best interview ever.
Gustav, it's not an interview. Gustav, that's not all you tried, Chad. Answer the question about her. Yeah, what'd you try to do with Kelsey Cook?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Gustav begs to differ.
Yeah.
Hey, doctor, what does it mean when somebody giggles when talking about sexual assault?
So we didn't get through all
like
the tells for lying.
Girl.
Is that a tell?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, so there's a lot here. Again, we could do a lecture series on how to analyze lying. Those like we
if
went
you
through
giggled during sexual assault, that meant you did it.
Chris Mack, Doc, why aren't white people allowed to be proud of the heritage? Seems there's a systematic effort to cause white shame and self-loathing. Any thoughts?
Don't take that seriously, Doc.
Yeah, we don't have to do this. We don't have time for today. But Chris Mack, thank you.
I have 4 minutes.
Chatham has 2 hands. Adam has 2 hands. Chad is lying. Sketty is super smart and nice lady. She's kind of like the Mary Jane to this community's Peter Parker.
Oh
yes, Sketty seems seemed very nice on Melton's show. She wasn't
was very
trying
nice
to.
I met her in person.
But then you don't like her, so he goes after her, and Chad will be like, "Well, that's the dopamine that was trying to calm me down."
I don't like what she was doing, like talking about.
People don't like a lot of things. People do. They don't try to fucking dox them and get them fired from their job.
I never tried it. I don't even know where she works. I don't know what she does. I don't care.
Yeah, nobody knows where she works because she had to switch her job.
Well, she's a psycho if she had to switch her job because no one tried to go after her job. Nobody.
We are still talking about farming out. We are still talking about Sketty farming out. What's he?
I like this guy's picture. He looks like really happy in that picture. That's like a real smile.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, but what is he saying? What is he saying?
I don't know what farming out means, but.
Doc, was Chad's roast set the worst thing you ever saw? Could you draw any similarities between it and the movie Joker? Victim to villain mentality, for instance. Also, isn't Mondays with Mazer kind of gay?
Go sign up to my Patreon.
Go ahead, Doc.
No, I mean, I think I've seen much worse.
No, but is it anything to? Did you see the Joker and any correlation?
No, Hey, not comedy is one of those things. It's even good comedy can sometimes be bad. And in terms of the Joker and victim to villain mentality, I mean, certainly the idea of the Joker is a huge extrapolation of a lot of the topics we're talking about today. How someone copes with trauma and how, if we let it control us and our behaviors, how they eventually come out in the end. But again, you see the Joker is a story that's being told that is so captivating to audiences and human beings. And that's part of the reason why, I wanted to talk to you or continue to talk to you, Chad, is the person who writes the Joker, the people who came with these stories obviously went through very severe trauma.
Todd Phillips, he wrote the Joker.
No, but he's saying it's a compelling story. It's a compelling story like Cinderella or the Joker. People are sympathetic. They're sympathetic to the person who was victim, and then they become the villain as revenge fantasy.
Sam Morril had a good tweet because we
don't talk about Sam Morril here,
but it was about the
Dan
Joker.
G. All right, let me cut you loose. Dan G. Here's the question, Doc. Do you think Chad chugs men's cocks or what?
Oh, come on, guys. This is a doctor.
No, it's getting late, so people are getting a little randy.
Dinner rush.
Chad is Florida's greatest hack.
I mean, your greatest. That's
something.
It's going to be the
greatest.
Doc, please answer honestly. Why did number
one son fail? I did that number one son.
It's so bad.
I loved it. It's my favorite show.
Somebody said, "Where's the rest of the season?" Wait, you're saying the song's bad or the show was bad?
No, the song, especially the Melton version, is very funny. I think the episode.
I did that number one time.
You don't like the pilot?
I think it's comedy's hard.
You
No, but what didn't you like about it? The fans are going to go nuts on this. What
you
didn't
didn't
you
like
like about
you
it?
didn't like handsome, athletic Neil?
Yeah, it's very interesting shows. Shows like not ones that have like laugh tracks and so forth. There's a interesting kind of topic that you're processing, whether overtly or covertly, and there wasn't like a lot of depth.
Yeah, it wasn't deep, right?
Yeah, there wasn't like a sub.
That's what I kept complaining. I'm like, wait, shouldn't the? They're like, no. This is how you do it. I'm like,
because
right.
I feel like it was moving towards King of Queens type of like stuff, and that's got its place. But I think you also work a lot better in something a little bit more complex.
Yeah.
But what do I know? I'm a psychiatrist. I know nothing.
Oh, you know a lot, Doc. She's choking. That's from Norm Macdonald on Conan O'Brien. Doc, she's choking. He did some joke on. He's dead.
Spelled Bored. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen on TV. I saw that live.
What? Spelled what?
When she was talking to that woman from 90210 and Conan, and he's like, I'm in a movie with Carrot Top. It's called Chairman of the Board. He's like, something with that. And just out of nowhere, he goes, I bet it's spelled Bored.
No, in less than 2 seconds, he came up with that.
Unbelievable.
It was the greatest. It was the greatest ad lib in show business history or talk show history. It's really because Conan threw it to him like, you got nothing here, and then out of nowhere he picks the perfect response. It was incredible. Every time I drink, I watch it. Doc, she's choking, allegedly, but also really. Philly Franks, Chad, I had constructive criticism. Philly Franks, I had constructive criticism, not hate. I'm watching 2 TVs to help you. Phillies are on. Doctor, anytime in South Philly, I got you. All cheesesteaks on me. I live near Macaroni, closer to CPB, also ACKB. The doctor can stay at Harrah's for the Super Bowl. Yeah, we'll put the doctor up, and then we'll get him a lap dance from that girl from yesterday.
Yeah,
everything will be intertwined from this show. Everything.
You're making this more enticing for sure.
Doctor, get a hall pass for that weekend.
All right, we're caught up, everybody. Incredible show. Great super chats. Great analysis from the doctor. And Chad, thanks for not getting drunk. Milton predicted you would get drunk, and that's why I didn't want to. I was a little nervous about that.
Keep listening to him.
Milton's entertaining, but I'm saying, he predicted you would get drunk, and I didn't want to deal a ski mask drunk.
30 days, baby.
You eating? Yeah, he's already like 30 days. Time to celebrate. Come on, victory lap. Let me go get some Tito's.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like drinking right now, but I'm not going to.
Okay, Adam, we got to do anything? We got to say anything?
No, I mean, we can run down maybe we let the doctor go if he's got to go. And then if you want to run down the high rollers.
No, I'll just do it tomorrow because I don't want to.
No, otherwise, no, we're good.
I'll do it tomorrow because I took pictures and everything. And doctor, any final thoughts like Jerry Springer style on Chad or the show or the world that we were in?
So, Chad, the comment you just made, I think, is the core of the perpetuation of your dysfunction when it's here. Each time you respond to these conflicts, however you do, they are exhausting and they're distressing, even when you're self-soothing with the anger. And that's where alcohol serves a function. And then alcohol becomes its own issue. Feeling like you want to drink at the end of this makes a lot of sense because you really went through a lot during this conversation. The more you can do to decrease those reactionary events, the less likely you're going to have any need for a tool like alcohol. And really, the easier all of this gets really quickly.
All right.
Yeah.
I listen. Thank you. I do honestly appreciate your time and help.
Pecker 1991 said he's been saying 30 days for the last 2 weeks.
No, that's not true. I've been watching. He's at 27 3 days ago. 20. It's a real 30.
It's a 30 for 30.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for letting me do this again. I can't believe you guys keep on having me back on this.
You're like great. It's great. The fans love it. They love the interaction because I mean it is a hack verse. It's all the fucking losers in this world. It's great that they confronted and not confronted, but just like forced to address some of their issues. So we couldn't be happier. And thank you very much. And we'll let you go. And then I'm going to yell at Chad.
Here. From
can I put that up? I know it's from Chris Mack, who's always looking for trouble.
No, he's just a question.
Oh. I don't know
Doc,
who those...
any thoughts on Dr. John Money?
Yeah, but are they weird doctors? Are they like
Donald Cameron, Kevorkian, both prisoners, you may say.
Are they both weird doctors?
Both pioneers. Yeah, it's it's
political.
it's in a similar vein as the last topic. But yeah, again, Chad, thank you so much for letting me do this.
It's great.
This with us. Maybe hopefully one day down the road we do a part 2 because I think the interpersonal relationship stuff is really interesting. 2004 is a long time ago.
Yeah. Talk to my booker.
2004. He's trying to get you laid, Chad. 2004. Okay. Who do you think will get laid first, Chad or Ray DeVito?
Oh, me, easily. I could get laid tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not talking about paying. We're talking about like a legit where she consenting adults.
This Dabbleverse ruined a relationship I was in.
Yeah, beautiful thing. And plus the car wreck didn't help. All right, Doctor. Thank you very much, Chad.
Bye, my lawyer.
See you soon. Bye.